Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
I have some serious questions to ponder this morning. First of all, what do you do when you see an endangered animal eating an endangered plant? And secondarily, can vegetarians eat animal crackers? Burning questions to ponder. Good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell. Welcome to Zeb at the Ranch. Here comes Kate Smith. And God bless America. Followed by a patriot to say our Pledge of Allegiance in just a moment. Thank you very much, Kate Smith, and good morning, everybody. I'm Zeb Bell, right here on Zeb at the Ranch, and our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Serving is the key word. Thank you so much, along with some of our great advertisers, and they include Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today, 734-6969. And to add a little beauty to the program, we go right over to the main studios and talk to the lovely Gina Jameson.
So are you equating us to the Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah, something like that. Now, my question is this.
Yes.
Yesterday, being that you arrived late and had not painted the barn, who's who?
Well, you got a great point there, mister, and I can't argue that.
Okay.
But today I actually showed up early. However, the barn still isn't painted.
You know, I got to tell you something, though. You know, women, they can get by with a frazzle look. You know, they can look like they just went through one of those big fans, and the world is about ready to just gobble them up, and they can still look good, and guys can't do that.
I don't know what world you're living in, but that doesn't happen in my world. Yeah, but
that's the culture today. That's the style of dress. That's the mode of attire. You know, women can kind of look like their hair going, whoa, like that, and it's okay. It's acceptable.
Okay.
I can see you really agree.
Yeah. And with all of that said, dear sir, we have Michael Rogers on for the pledge and for the weather.
All right, here we go. Michael Rogers with the Pledge of Allegiance. Go, please.
Good morning, everybody. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Michael. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the weather. And the weather is always brought to you by our dear friends at Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly. And, of course, don't forget, they've got everything in there for you. I mean, they've got all the patio pavers, they got all the wall blocks, they got all the trees, the shrubs, everything. And right now, too, don't forget they've got ceramic pots in various colors, sizes, shapes, and textures, and they're 50% off through the end of this month of August at Rock Creek Growers, corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly, bringing you now MichaelRogersWeather.com.
The one word to describe our weather for the next 72 hours is the letter H. It's brought to you by Michael Rogers Weather. What am I talking about? It's going to be hot. Start out today with a high of 97, 100 for tomorrow, 98 for the day after tomorrow. Other than that, no major storms. Everything is just like it's supposed to be for the Magic Valley of South Central Idaho, the dog days of summer. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. God bless you, my dear friend. Brought to you by Rock Creek Growers on the corner of Maxine Lane and Irene Streets in Kimberly. Don't forget, coming up this weekend, absolutely, the 3rd Annual Idaho Liberty Summit. It's going to be the 16th and 17th, Friday and Saturday, at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. And please contact Moon & Associates in Rupert at 436-3714 or Ramsey Heating and Electric. Get registered for this summit. It's going to be absolutely phenomenal, sponsored by the Idaho Tea Party, and take pride in what America was and can be again. All right, give us a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I just want to take a moment here and talk to you about my friends at Ramsey Heating and Electric. And, of course, you know they have all your electrical needs. They're at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley. And they open the doors at 7:30 in the morning and say, "Hello, world! Come on in and see us for all your electrical needs." Fluorescent and HID lighting, lamps and electrical ballast cords, everything they've got it at Ramsey Heating and Electric, where they've served you with a B, over 57 years in business. And, of course, they're there to serve you with the best of warm winters and cool summers. Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. A lot of stories to talk about this morning, and one that has absolutely taken over the newscasts on virtually every news station. And I want to thank Tanner Stanger. Tanner's been a friend of ours for a long, long time. Yesterday, he gave me a call in the afternoon. He said, "Did you hear what's going on in Missouri at an amateur rodeo at the Missouri State Fair?" And I said, "No, I haven't heard it yet." And he says, "Man, it's on the website. It's all over." And to give you just a kind of a thumbnail sketch of what happened back there, and caller, I'll be right with you, stand by, is that a clown at the rodeo had an Obama mask. He put the mask on the dummy and basically encouraged the bull to hit the dummy, the mannequin, with the Obama mask on, and all hell has broken loose with the NAACP and others. This thing has got completely out of hand, and we're going to talk about that this morning, even later on with Doug Johnson from Colorado. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
How are you this morning, Ellie?
I'm good, thank you.
Did you listen to Hannity last night?
A little bit of it. What specifically?
They said that Obama is in Martha's Vineyard in a section where he does not have to put up with the whites.
With what?
Whites.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's strictly a black section.
Oh, my goodness sakes, isn't that nice? I mean, you talk about racial divides in this country. Here's a man that has promoted, I think, more racism than any other president we've had in the last, I can't remember how long. This story that I'm going to talk about, Dal, in just a moment, back in Missouri at the Missouri State Fair, is very serious. It has a lot of legs that are going to reach out into other areas, and I'm going to talk about that in just a few minutes, so stay tuned. And it also has a lot to do with the president and his personality, so we'll get into that in just a minute. Okay, my friend?
That sounds like a good deal, but one other thing, while I got you. Everybody should listen to Hannity Friday night.
And the reason?
It has to do with Obama.
Okay.
And the black.
And we will encourage that. I think a lot of Sean Hannity. I don't think as much about Bill O'Reilly, but I do have respect for Sean Hannity. Thank you very much, Dal. Appreciate it.
Okay.
God bless. Have a good day. Nice people right there. Hey, listen, real quick, before I get back into the story, and it's a lengthy story. It's going to take probably the bulk of this hour to get through it. Valley White Home and Ranch, they've got all your livestock feed. I mean, all your livestock feed for all your feed needs. And by the way, if you're showing your cattle at the fair right now and you're saying, holy buckets, we need more shavings for the stalls, they got all the shavings. They've got everything. And by the way, they got all your clothing, too, all your boots. They've got, my goodness, a special deal right now. You can buy one pair of ladies or children's boots and get another pair for half off. You can't beat that deal. Valley White is your store. Stop in and see them today. Valley White Home and Ranch, 910 South Oneida in Rupert, serving you, your ranch, your farm, your family. Valley White Home and Ranch. Real quick, too, before we go too much further, I want to remind you about JB's 136 East 5th North in Burley. Our next lunch bunch, and I've had a lot of people call me on this, is going to be on the 29th, Thursday the 29th. And that's because of all the fairs and the rodeos and everything that I'm going to be at. So we have it on the 29th at JB's. Don't forget that. 136 East 5th North in Burley. Breakfast, oh boy, what a breakfast buffet. Luncheon specials, it is fantastic. Steaks, they've got it all for you. Daniel and the rest of the crew, great food, great service, really nice people. At JB's, 136 East 5th North in Burley. Now, what happened? Let's talk a little bit about this. It's been on the major network newscasts, and as I said, this thing is just absolutely being blown completely out of proportion as to what really took place in the arena. And I want to back up here a little bit and say that there's been some mistakes made by the media in reporting this story. They have reported that the clown, Tuffy Gesling is his name, put the Obama mask on himself. He did not. The Obama mask was on the mannequin, or dummy if you prefer, which they're called in the arena. And really, there was nothing done that hasn't been done, and I want to make this point extremely clear. When Bill Clinton was in office with his wife Hillary, there were a lot of jokes, there were a lot of one-liners, there were a lot of masks, there were a lot of things done to poke fun at that situation when Bill Clinton was in office. The same can be said, especially about George W. Bush. Happened many, many times. My point that I'm going to get at this morning is, why is this president socially immune to taking any criticism or having any humor directed at him or his administration? And I'm going to lay the cards right out on the table to you. Is it because of race? Now, this situation has absolutely got blown out of proportion. And I feel a lot of sympathy and empathy for the clown and the announcer that were involved in this situation back in Missouri, because they basically did not do anything wrong other than just have fun with the situation and a caricature mask of our President Obama, which has been done numerous times with other aspects of the media. Now, to back up my point on this, in the USA Today, for the last month, on the Friday edition of the USA Today, they have on the op-ed pages multiple cartoons depicting politics and policies of Obama. They have displayed the man with big ears and a big toothy grin, and they have also had many cartoons that show possibly violence in the cartoon, like a bus running over Obama or an economic truck that says economic on the side of it, a train running over Obama. There have been many cartoons, political cartoons, that have made inferences to the president. There have been many people on television, Jay Leno being one. There have been many people on the radio that have been critical and have also said and made jokes about the administration. I have too. Now, in regards to other administrations, no one was filthier. No one was with a lower class standard than Bill Maher. When George Bush was in office, Bill Maher reached the epitome of lowness. Nobody said a word from the left. Nobody said a word. It was just business as usual. But now, and I will also say this at this juncture, I have worked with many clowns in the arena that have had masks of various presidents and also Hillary Clinton. And it was all done in a humorous vein. There was nothing sinister. There was nothing serious. There was nothing as far as making an issuance of a threat to the person. That's absolutely ridiculous. But they're going after this clown, Tuffy Gesling, and also the Missouri State Fair, and also the announcer. And they've called in now the NAACP and they're asking for a full-fledged investigation. This is asinine and outrageous. Caller, stay with me, please. I've got to do a commercial. I'll be right with you, I promise. Don't forget our friend Nathan Harris. Nice man. Called me last night, as a matter of fact. I have a lot of respect for him. Harris Plumbing NG for all your plumbing service needs. One call, that's all you need. 431-8633. 431-8633. Drips, leaks, clogs, everybody has them at one time or another. Main water line repair, I'll tell you what, 24/7 service. Harris Plumbing NG. They did the job for me. I know they can do the job for you. Give them a call today, 431-8633. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
How are you doing this morning?
I'm good. Thank you for your call. What can I do for you?
I haven't seen the video, but now I need to watch it. But I got a question for you. When this was going on, what was the crowd doing? Does it got soundtrack where they sit
cheering
and stuff? Or?
Cheering.
Cheering, yeah, exactly.
Now, let me make one point here again. One person called this to task, one person. And this one person started the ball rolling, and this thing has gone viral. And I am very, very concerned. There has been a alert sent out that this man, Tuffy Gesling, will be banned for life as far as possibly doing any more rodeos at not only the Missouri State Fair, but possibly the state of Missouri. And now they're going after the announcer, and the announcer, of course, is also in the education business, and he's worried he might lose his job as superintendent of schools. This thing is taking on legs of advancement from the NAACP and others, and now they want to appoint a special investigative committee to go after this man, Tuffy Gesling, for even more charges. Sir, I put to you, this is asinine and ridiculous.
Well, we got to be careful because people don't realize that we're getting into the Nazi regime again, so you don't speak against the leaders.
But the thing is, it's more than this.
You know what? It's a rodeo. It's all about humor. That's what the announcer and that's what the clowns are there for. You know that as well as anybody.
But is the president and the administration above reproach? This is what scares me. Are they above reproach? Has it turned into now a lack of or a diminishment of freedom of speech and freedom of expression? Now, here's my point to you, and I want you to respond to this. If the crowd was laughing in the background and cheering for the clown and the statements of the mannequin wearing the Obama mask, and all but one person was upset about this, then why can't we look at a majority rule type thing? Instead, one person has created havoc and has absolutely destroyed the lives of Tuffy Gesling, and also destroyed possibly the Missouri State Fair Rodeo, and also is working on the destruction of the announcer, this Mark Finken. So now I'm asking you this. Is this a kingdom that we're celebrating instead of a presidency?
Well, it sounds like we're getting there. It sounds like you just, I don't know. You know what? This country with this presidency is so screwed up anymore. It's just like, you don't even know what to think anymore.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I agree with you.
It's something simple and fun, and, and I think that guy, another thing of it is these media people, a lot of times, I think they look at it like, oh, here's an opportunity to make myself famous,
There you go. And they're even starting to term this a racist incident. That's how low this thing has gone. Sir, thank you for your call. I appreciate it. God bless you, sir. Thank you. Hey, don't forget, next week we are going to be at the Box Elder County Fair and Rodeo. Oh, my goodness, the Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo down in Tremont, Utah, with the theme Blue Jeans and Country Dreams. Oh, my! It's going to be fun. Like next Tuesday, the 20th, they're going to have team branding and a kids scramble, and then on Wednesday, the 21st, they're going to have bulls, broncs, and barrels. Oh my, that's a good contest. Then on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the Golden Spike Rodeo. It's always good. They're going to have exceptionally good cowboys coming in. All of this and the fair at the Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo next week, August 19th through the 24th in Tremont, Utah. Don't you miss it. By the way, I'm telling you, don't miss, too, the great big third annual Idaho Liberty Summit. It's going to be this weekend at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center, and I urge you to get involved. These people are really working hard to help everyone. The Idaho Tea Party, Moon and Associates in Rupert, and Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley. Call Moon and Associates at 436-3714 to register. Get there early. It's going to be ripping good. Take pride in America, what it was and what it can be again. All right, give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, you might look at this as a minuscule event. You might look at this as not really worthy or important. But all of a sudden, this story about Missouri has just absolutely ruined some lives. It's ruined some lives. It's ruined the life of Tuffy Gesling. It has ruined the life of Mark Ficken, the announcer. It has ruined the atmosphere of the Missouri State Fair. And you might say, well, they have to be more careful about what they say or do. Well, then doesn't the same apply to cartoonists and also late-night talk show hosts, radio, all the pundits on television? Doesn't the same apply to them? What about the satirists like Bill Maher, that absolutely go to the lowest depths, as they did against George W. Bush? Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning, Jeb. I was watching that last night when they had that black guy from Missouri was starting a lot of the trouble or going about it, and they had Alan West on there with him. Alan West brought us some things, and that guy could not give him an answer about when he was running for office. They painted his gold tooth on his picture. They done everything they could to Reagan, Bush 2, everybody, Clinton, the whole works. And he says, why don't you condemn some of that? And that God did not have an answer to him.
Yeah, but Al, you bring up the excellent point that I made a minute ago. When Bill Clinton was in office with the Monica Lewinsky scandal and Hillary Clinton and the blue dress, I mean, the pundits and the satirists went wild. There wasn't one single program, there wasn't one single comedian that didn't touch on this. There was many of these masks that were sold, especially at Halloween time, and nobody said a word. Nobody called the NAACP. Nobody said that they wanted a statewide investigation. This thing has got rampant because of one thing: racism.
That's right, because they took and raised hell with Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, the whole damn works. As long as you're Republican in that, you get ridiculed and, tore across the baseline. But Democrats and liberals, they can do anything they want, say anything they want, and nobody jumps down their throats. Yeah. People, it's time to turn the tables and say, you asked for it, now you're going to get both barrels.
No, I agree with you. Al, God bless you for your thoughts, as always. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Don't forget Travel Lube Supply, 1050 West 203 south of Hayburn, 438-8730, right there at Jim McCall's farm. Duct tape, they've got just rolls and rolls of duct tape. I'm telling you, that's what keeps everything together here. And they've got all your oil and air filters, your tools, your oil, everything you need, including Bubba ropes. They've got it all for you. Jim is really running a good business serving you. Travel Lube Supply, 438-8730. And right now, we're going to listen to the Capital Press Ag Minute, brought to you by Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. I'll be right back.
Today's Ag Minute brought to you by the Capital Press, the West Ag Weekly.
Members of a Chinese trade team visiting the Pacific Northwest last week said they're interested in buying more soft white wheat, a class they haven't historically purchased in the region. China has traditionally produced almost all of its soft white wheat and imported mostly hard red spring, but the country is dramatically expanding its imports and considering other classes due to crop damage caused by persistent rains during this year's harvest of its winter wheat crop. China met 90% of its demand with domestic production this year, down 5% from normal. Experts see great potential for the class, which can be used in noodles, sticky buns, sponge cakes, cookies, and crackers. With the Capital Press Ag Minute, this is Hannah Brous.
For more agriculture news and information, turn to the West Ag Weekly, the Capital Press, and capitalpress.com.
Oh, thank you very much. Don't forget Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley. For all your cleanup and recycling needs, visit Pacific Steel and Recycling. They pay top dollar for scrap iron, tin, cars, auto, stainless steel, aluminum, copper, and so much more. These are wonderful people serving you at Pacific Steel and Recycling, 320 West Main in Burley, 678-2321. Calls are welcome and appreciated at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. When is and where is humor or being critical in a jocular way, when is that not acceptable? Is it okay for someone to say something on a late-night show? Is it okay for someone at a music awards program to come out and demean and denigrate, like they did many times, George Bush, our president, in the past? But if pick a certain venue, all of a sudden now aiming at the rodeo business, and in this case the Missouri State Fair, and a clown puts a mask on a mannequin in the arena. And I want to stress the fact the media was wrong. He did not put the mask on himself. He put it on a mannequin in the arena. That's where the media didn't follow up and really understand their story. Why is that all of a sudden not acceptable when everybody in television, radio, the cartoonists for newspapers have done the same thing, researching comedy to get a point across? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, has DRCA done anything stupid and banned this guy, or are they going to stick with the Western life?
No, wait a minute. I want to stop you right there. First of all, this was not, I want to emphasize the word not, a PRCA rodeo. It was an amateur. Okay. I said that at the beginning. It was a Missouri Cowboys Association rodeo. It was an amateur rodeo. It was not part of the PRCA. But you bring up a point. I think that there has to be somewhat of a standing tall attitude from any association, because I think that if certain things are off limit and you're starting to dictate what is freedom of speech and what isn't freedom of speech, you might as well just quit whatever I might as well quit as an announcer. Because if I've got to be so careful, just a minute, please, I'll let you respond. If I've got to be so careful about everything I say that I'm going to either be threatened with a lawsuit or I'm going to have somebody come up in the stand and threaten me physically, I'm going to get out of the business. Go ahead.
Well, I just got on the pickup, so I didn't hear all your first part. Another question, did the bull hit the mannequin?
You know, that I believe that the bull, I don't know, but see, this is where the NAACP is coming in. I haven't seen the entire video yet. We're going to pull it up after the program. But if, I haven't seen the entirety of the bull and the mannequin wearing the Obama mask, but there again, nobody was inciting a physical damage or detriment to the president's health. This was all done in humor. Now, it might not have been funny to some, but basically one person out of the thousands that were in attendance, one person became upset and has turned this into an anti-viral situation against the clown, the Missouri State Fair, and also the announcer.
Well, yeah, like you said, they've had Dolly Parton, they've had President Bush, Clinton, Hillary. Everybody does this. It's all for fun, entertainment. That's your business.
I'm very concerned about free speech, or the lack of, that's going to be happening in this country, and it's going to become more severe, especially with this administration. When you start waving the race card around in this situation to this young man that is now under siege with the NAACP, I'm speaking of the clown and the announcer and the Missouri State Fair, this has turned into a mess.
Well, it's like the George Zimmerman deal.
Yes.
Now, it's all a mess. Everybody wants racism. I mean, our country's got to get above this.
Well, okay, but let me ask you this. You pick up the newspaper, you read the newspaper, and you see a political cartoon, and they are drawing the president in a not, flattering manner, sometimes with big ears and a big toothy grin, and they're getting their point across that he's not doing the job, whether it's on Obamacare or the economy or whatever. Isn't that humor the same or even more so than what happened in this regard, putting a Obama mask on a mannequin?
You can't have one guy above. Everybody's got to have a sense of humor. And the NAACP has no sense of humor.
Amen. Amen, my friend. And by the way, a quick response for your call. Don't forget, big team roping tonight at the Jerome County Fairgrounds. Enter at 6:30 and rope at 7, right?
You bet. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Day.
Thank you.
Keep after them.
I will, buddy. Thanks much. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Be right there, caller. Don't forget Quality's Electronics. They do not do any door-to-door sales. They only work right from their location at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls, 733-4910. And if anybody comes to your door and says they're representing Quality's, trying to talk you out of either Dish or DirecTV, one or the other, just slam the door, please, because Quality Electronics is always first class. They can install it, provide the local service, and ensure your satisfaction. They don't have door knockers, I'll tell you that. Quality's Electronics, the best, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yeah, you said that Zeb been talking to that last fella. You pick up the newspaper, go to the opinion page, and you're going to see his picture with, like you say, the big ears and his mouth stretched out. And pretty quick, they're going to shut the papers off.
You know, this thing has got so out of hand, and I know, and I'm going to be very, very honest and blunt here, I have worked with many, many, many clowns all over the United States that have used the masks of some of the individuals like President Clinton, President George Bush, and also Hillary. And all of a sudden, that was all right. People laughed. They thought it was funny. We're just having a little fun at the president's expense. But now, Fred, because of racism being played and the NAACP, now Obama is untouchable.
Yeah, this race card deal, that got clear out of hand. I mean, way out of hand.
Absolutely.
And a lot of it's coming on because of the Zimmerman case.
Yeah, I agree. And for this man and his administration to be above the fray and be above free speech and be above criticism, that is a scary, slippery slope, my friend.
It definitely is, and it's here.
I agree.
No question about it. It's here.
All right. Well, Fred, God bless you for chiming in. I appreciate it, my friend. Thanks.
You bet.
God bless you. Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo merchants, and we've got a lot of them that are supporting the big event this weekend, and that's, of course, Butte Irrigation at 116 South, 600 West, Highway 27 in Paul, and a new location on Kimberly Road, north of Kimberly by Red Cap Corner. They've been in business since 1975, serving you with all your irrigation needs. They'll get you wet at Butte Irrigation. Along with Burley Veterinary Hospital, 2869 Overland in Burley. Don't forget Doctors Wally Ward and Scott Morley, working on small and large animals, committed to the best treatment and care of your animals. Burley Veterinary Hospital. And last but not least, the Book Plaza, 222 West 11th Street in Burley. Oh, Colonel Dale and the rest of the crew, great new and used books, gifts for all occasions. What a great store. Thousands and thousands of books. And it's also the home of the National Pioneer Hall of Fame, the Book Plaza in Burley. All right, give us a call. And I also want to remind you that today, I understand last night at the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo, the Aaron Tippin concert was absolutely fantastic. I've heard nothing but good reports about it. Today at the fair, they're going to have the big parade in downtown Burley at 10:30. I know a lot of you getting down there, putting your lawn chairs up already, and being prepared for the 10:30 start of the fair. Parade. That's going to be in Burley this morning. And tonight at 7 p.m., this is a big event, Team Ranch Sorting in the Rodeo Arena. And then, of course, tomorrow, Friday and Saturday night, the Great Big Ram Tough Rodeo Series, PRCA Rodeo. Don't miss it at the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning. We was watching Hannity last night, and he interviewed, or had a thing going with a state senator from Missouri, and he is the one that's stirring up this crap. Mm-hmm. He was bent out of shape. You know, if Christ came today, the Democrats would actually take him and crucify him again. I mean, on a cross. That's how crooked, despicable, dishonest. I can't think of any more adjectives.
Well, Helen, this is a situation that I'm really concerned about. Now, I'm in the waning years of my participation in the rodeo business as far as really wanting to travel and announce a lot of rodeos from here to Canada and then back again. But I'm concerned that if the NAACP and other parts of racism are going to rear its head over this thing, we're going to see a kingdom, not a presidency. We're going to see a kingdom with Obama, and all bets are off as far as our amendments like free speech, etc. in this country. They are doomed.
Not only that, Zeb, it's going to get worse. Not only is he going to be thought of as a kingdom, he is going to be divinity. He's going to be the exalted one.
Yeah. Helen, I agree with you. Normally, we always get on the air and talk with you, and we got some little tongue-in-cheek, but this morning it's too serious to make a tongue-in-cheek. I'm very upset as to the ruination of some lives. This Tuffy Gesling that was the clown didn't, in my opinion, do anything wrong that is going to warrant his national scrutiny and his national disgrace from the NAACP and others. This is very serious, and I'm very concerned.
How else are they going to shut us up?
Yeah.
That's it.
They're true.
Trying to shut us up.
Helen, God bless you and your family. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. You know, you get thinking about it, and this can be shot down just because how many rodeos have I been to since, the rodeo, the clown, the bullfighter has always had a mask of the president that's in office. Mm-hmm. Every year I can remember, there usually is one rodeo or another. It's always been that way. Mm-hmm. And the other thing about it is when I was going through school, at one point in time, I don't remember exactly what class was in, but they were talking about how people of such a celebrity status is it's kind of one of them givens that you're going to be made fun of and teased a little bit and joked around about, and it's just part of being a celebrity.
Let me ask you.
The president is a celebrity just in the fact that he's well known.
Let me ask you a question. When the jokes and the scandalous stories and everything else were going out on the airwaves, were going out in the newspapers, were being on television about Bill Clinton and his scandals, did Bill Clinton ever turn around and try to enlist other groups to go after these people, these pundits, or these late-night comedy people? Did he ever go after and try to get them shut down or get them thrown out of their job? No. Neither did George Bush. Neither has anybody else. But now we're looking at a possible term racist incident at the Missouri State Fair, and the NAACP getting involved, and also trying to get an investigation through the Missouri House Speaker, Tim Jones. This whole thing has just gone to the point where it's viral, it's ballistic, and it's ruining lives, and I think needlessly.
You know, I don't think it has anything to do with racism. I do believe it has to do with him being a pansy. Anybody who tries to oppose him or his whatever he wants to do, like you said before, they're going to be branded racism. And I'm sick of it. I ain't going to hide from it. I don't like the guy. I never have. I think he's a big loser, a big whiner, a crybaby. My 8-year-old boy has a hell of a lot more knowledge, or not necessarily knowledge, but manners than he does.
Well, everybody has a right.
Big fit because he's getting made fun of and getting teased. Don't poor picked on Obama. Guess what? Everybody gets picked on, everybody gets teased, and everybody gets ribbed now and again. If you can't deal with it, go somewhere else.
I'm just concerned about what's going to happen here to the domino effect. It's going to be very, very treacherous for anybody behind a microphone or in a public forum to say anything that is not going to be attacked by the NAACP and turned into a racist incident. Appreciate your call. God bless you, man. Thank you very much, and I'll talk to you later. It's time real quick, and I'll take some more calls for a weather update with MichaelRogersWeather.com.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's going to get hot, folks, and it's going to carry right into the weekend. We start out with it for today, 97 for the high. Tomorrow, the high will be 100. The day after tomorrow, you're still going to be hot, 98 for the high. What does that mean? A lot of sun, very little clouds. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. I appreciate your weather forecast, as I always do. I'd like your comments on this because, we're on the verge locally of, we've got the Cassia County, Jerome just ended last week, and we've got the Cassia County Fair this week, and one thing I won't do, and I mean this, is I'm not going to limit, prohibit, or whatever free speech from my microphone. I'm not into the denigration type thing. I'm not going to get into that, but what I'm saying is I'm not about to have somebody come up and give me a checklist. Well, you can't say this. We don't think you should say this. If that's the case, then at the last minute they better have somebody on standby to come up and fill in for me. Because you reach a point where you absolutely can't do your job when you have people standing over you with a chalkboard or a little tablet, and they're, oh, well, you said this, you said that. I mean, you can't operate that way. And you shouldn't. Humor, only if not directed at the left and Democrats, is acceptable. And I want to say that again. Humor, only if not directed at the left or Democrats, is acceptable. If it's not aimed at them, it's okay. But in this case, where there were some jocular remarks made about President Obama, and a caricature with a mask put on a mannequin, as has been happening many, many times with past presidents and famous celebrities, all of a sudden, this is taboo, this is wrong, and this is worth an NAACP racist examination? Are you kidding me? Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Morning, Zeb. I feel sorry for the clown and the announcer. I feel more disgruntled about people not standing for the flag when they enter the arena and the desecration of the flag that goes on in the United States every day compared to what's going on with Obama. We need to be standing up for our country, and there's not a person around that will do that, don't seem like. So this is a topsy-turvy world, and what has happened with this Obama mask is totally uncalled for, so as far as I'm concerned.
I appreciate your remarks. Thank you. You're always welcome on the show. God bless. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Seth. When I was in high school, I used to wear cowboy boots and jeans and Levi jacket, and I had kids making fun of me all the time. And that's who I was, so I really didn't care. That's who Obama is. Why should he care? I just don't get excited about it. I don't know why he would.
When you talk about the respect, I want to use this word and this terminology, talk about the respect for the presidency. Yes, I want to stop everything right here and say, yes, I respect the presidency. But you know something, sir, and I think you'll agree with me, is that when we are in awe and absolutely bow down and worship the president, not the presidency, we got a problem. This man is a human being. This man has an ideology that I absolutely detest. This man has principles in politics that I think are hurting this country permanently, and I will criticize him and I will go after him every day on this program. But when something done in the vein of humor all of a sudden is turned into a racist event, and the NAACP and state legislature are going to invest time and effort and money into an investigation and ruin people's lives over just a humorous situation that has happened numerous other times, this is asinine.
I concur wholeheartedly. I don't understand these. Well, I don't understand the whole racist thing anyway. So, but this appears to be reverse racism. You can't poke fun at a guy just because he's black, or you can't poke fun at a guy just because he's white or green or purple or whatever.
Yeah.
I get really upset about this, and it's gone too far. And the NAACP, I'm wondering just where they're coming from.
Yeah.
Is it all money?
Well, you know as well as I do that this is just fodder for the fires of Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and others that are race baiters and haters. Sir, I appreciate your call as always. I got a whole bunch lined up. Thank you. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Have a great day, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
I'm calling again. Sorry.
That's all right. Go ahead quickly.
I think a real person with a good heart would look at that, even if you're the president, and say, you know what, that's all in fun, it's just a jest, drop it.
You know, you bring up a good point there, though. If Obama himself would say, hey, wait a minute, come on, it was just done in jest, there wasn't anything malicious about it, there wasn't anything life-threatening or intimidating about it, you know, that would defray the whole situation, but, sir, I'm going to tell you right now that's not going to happen.
I know, but a real person with a good heart, they'd do that.
It would just absolutely ease the tension and absolutely diffuse the problem. I agree with you. Thank you for your call. Thank you. Thank you. The man's right. This thing, it's gone crazy. I mean, I know some of the people back in Missouri that I'm going to be calling and trying to get on the air, as a matter of fact, and that are not connected to this event directly, but that do live back there and that do rodeo for a living, and so I'll try to get them on the air. I heard you clear your throat.
Yes. Well, I just have something to say about this. When a particular person decides to take a political office, they have to understand that they are opening themselves up to satire and to being made fun of. It has nothing to do with the color of their skin, because quite frankly, we all bleed the same color.
You know, now, there again, though, stop right there. It has nothing to do with the color of that person's skin.
No.
Now, did this person go out and paint the mask black to be denigrating of Obama? No. The mask was made in the caricature of what Obama is it not?
You are very correct.
Okay, so now if they are making fun and humor of the President of the United States, as they did with Reagan, as they did with Bush, as they did with Clinton, as they did with Hillary, it had nothing to do with the skin color, did it?
No, it did not. It has to do with the office.
There you go. But now this thing's been taking on legs to the point where now they're walking into a racism-type charge. Gina, this is asinine.
Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson, and all of those other guys need to grow a sense of humor. When you take a political office or when you become a public figure, you automatically open yourself up for satire and jokes, just like you and I do. It's no different. It has nothing to do with their heritage. It has everything to do with the office and how they act within that office. They're not going to please everybody. You're going to be made fun of.
And let me throw something in on that right now, okay? I have had many people draw cartoons of me at rodeos and other events, and oh gee, they draw me with these cartoons on crutches. Now, I'm supposed to get offended? I'm supposed to say, oh gee, that's terrible, it puts me in a bad light? No, that's who I am.
Exactly, and so to all of those people who think, oh, well, it's all, it's not a race thing. It's an office thing. When you decide to become a political figure, whether it's, it doesn't matter in what level it is, but when you decide to become a political figure, you are going to automatically open yourself up for that, and you better grow yourself a sense of humor.
There you go. I got to do a quick spot, and then I'll take a call. Caller, don't go away. I'll be right there. Don't forget, best tire value promise in the industry at your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got the best in tires, all the different tread designs, everything for your style of driving, cars, pickups, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever. They'll make sure you drive safely with the best in tires, the best in brake service, the best in front end alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, everything. But I want to stress the fact, the best in service. They take care of you. Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline and Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. I kind of caught the last of this deal this morning. I do remember there was a rodeo clown around this area for a long time. I believe his name was Munn, that back in the 90s did certain dummies out in the middle of the arena with him with political figures. Nobody made a big deal out of that.
Absolutely. And he still does. And I'm not going to backwater for anybody. It still happens, and he still does. And many like him in the clown business have utilized those masks of famous celebrities and presidents. And I absolutely will stand behind their usage of their type of humor for that respective event. And I'm sick and tired of everybody kowtowing to this issue and saying it was racism, and that's the only reason that this clown did it is because he's a racist. That's asinine, it's juvenile, and it's completely stupid.
I agree with you 100%. I think it's hilarious.
All right, sir. Thank you very much for your call. Appreciate it. We're gonna hear more about this story as it goes along, and we should. The best way to combat a story is to meet it head on. I am not going to back up from this. I have made, and I want everybody to hear this, I have made anti-Obama remarks in jest. Oh, shock and awe! The ceilings are crumbling. As have many. As have many. And I'm not going to back up. Am I going to apologize? No. I'm not going to put myself in that position. I will not be threatened by the NAACP. I will not be threatened by investigations. I will not be threatened by the supporters of Obama and his kingdom. I will not be threatened. Nor should this man, Tuffy Giesling, or the announcer, or the Missouri State Fair. They should stand tall. They should stand unified and say, hey, listen, this was humor, not meant as a racism remark at all. Take it or leave it. I'll be back in 6. Welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Wednesday. And, of course, we've already had a great first hour. Looking forward to this one. Zeb at the Ranch brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 great locations. And serving you. Thank you very much, along with some of our great advertisers, Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland in Burley, and our friends at Western Waste Services.
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and resources. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Boy, they've got all kinds of dumpsters in various sizes available to you. If you're like me, you're looking at a project of cleaning, throwing, and getting rid of stuff. Well, let me tell you, they've got the dumpsters, and they can deliver them to you. You can fill them up, and they'll come pick them up. Go call them, 734-6969. Also, all the porta potties, everything, and get on the route service weekly. They are always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, 734-6969. Call them today. Hey, don't forget, we've been telling you all about the 3rd Annual Idaho Liberty Summit. It's going to be this weekend in Burley at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. And please register. Call Moon & Associates at 436-3714 in Rupert, or Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley, and register for this big event. Take pride in what America was and can be again. Also, real quick, let's not forget our dear friends at Hanson Mortuary. They do so much to help the community, and thank you very much to Joel Heward and his entire staff, providing families that they serve with the best possible support and comfort, always upholding the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Contact them today at 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. And please get information on pre-planning of funerals so that you can help alleviate a lot of the stress and worry for your family. Remember, Hanson Mortuary, 710 6th Street in Rupert, 436-5636. Ladies and gentlemen, on Wednesdays, I really look forward to a dear friend that lives in Colorado, and we're going to have right now the telephone lines team up with Mr. Doug Johnson. Good morning, Doug. How are you?
Well, good morning, Zeb. I'm good, setting aside my disgust for political correctness. How are you?
Well, I know where you're leading to, and I know this might sound a little bit holier than thou, and it's not meant to be, but nobody is closer to the rodeo business than I am. And I do not know Tuffy Gesling. I do not know this situation with this amateur rodeo that was at the Missouri State Fair. But I have talked about this story at great length in the first hour, Doug, in regards to how this is absolutely ridiculous. It's ridiculous that this humor, it was done in the vein of humor, not done with anything malicious or anything that would damage or hurt the president. It's absolutely ridiculous to have the NAACP and other authorities getting involved now for a possible racist investigation. Your thoughts?
Well, I agree with you entirely. As I'm guessing you probably know, I wrote a blog post about this yesterday. It disgusted me so much. I saw the story, and then I saw how the thing started to spiral out of control and just couldn't resist writing about it, because this is a perfect example of what is destroying our country. The stupidity of it all. They've made fun of presidents for generations, but in recent years, the last couple of decades, it's become unacceptable to make fun of any liberal. Only Republicans can be made fun of, only conservatives and people on the right. And since this president's come into office, it's gone even further. This president is seen as, and of course he was billed as the Messiah, as the Savior. And so he is untouchable. And while certainly he has not commented on this issue, and I don't think he will, for all we know, he might actually find it kind of funny. We don't know. We have no idea. He has said nothing, so we can't make any judgment about him on this. But we can make a judgment on the left, and what we are seeing is absolutely disgusting. And actually, the fact is, Zeb, I figured this would be a main discussion for you and your audience because of your background, and I kind of look forward to it. I didn't write it because of that, but I just figured the topic would be very close to your heart.
Well, it is. Well, not close to my heart. It's close to my temper. And I'm very upset about this, and I don't mean that to be a jocular remark. I'm very upset about this because, and I want to reiterate this as I said first hour, there have been clowns in every rodeo arena in the country that have used the caricature masks of past presidents, whether it's Reagan, whether it was George Bush, or Bill Clinton and Hillary when they had their satay with, of course, Monica Lewinsky and that scandal. But now, all of a sudden, the left is looking at this with a caricature of Obama that was not put on by the clown. I want to reiterate this. It was put on a mannequin in the arena. The clown did not put the mask on. And now the left is saying this was a racist remark and attitude, and they're going to call in and employ the NAACP and others for a statewide investigation. Doug, I submit to you, this is absolute idiocy.
Well, it is, and I'm going to offer a correction. I don't know how much you've seen on this. Actually, it was made to look like a mannequin. It was a person, and the idea was that the audience thought it was a mannequin, that the bull would hit the mannequin and knock him around and be funny. But then just as the bull ran up to him, the clown could run away, and that would surprise the audience. But regardless, the point is, it's exactly what you say. It's humor. Any of us who attend rodeo events have seen this numerous times, and they use masks for different figures, and political figures, especially presidents, are
Absolutely.
very common. I cite in my my blog post that there is actually a case in 1994 of them using a George H.W. Bush mask. And I'm sure if you went around the country, all the different rodeos, you'd probably find many different presidents' masks being used. This has nothing to do with anything personal. It's totally for humor. And people, obviously, we have people who don't even understand what a rodeo is or what a rodeo clown does. And it's just another perfect example of how the left does not understand the core mainstream of America.
But let me throw this at you. And, Doug, I have nothing but the utmost respect for you, even though it's interesting. We've never met personally or shook hands. You are one of the better friends I've had in this industry. But I want to throw this at you. What is the difference, underline that word difference, in this type of humor as opposed to all the political pundits, all the satirists, and all the political cartoonists that depict Obama? And I can show you, I got a pile of ads right here, cartoon ads, that show Obama with the great big ears and the great big toothy grin. Now, are they not also poking fun at the president with his policies and ideology? Why did they single out this event at a rodeo in Missouri?
Well, I think there's a couple issues here. First of all, to respond to your initial questions, that it's exactly the same thing. Humor is humor, and it's amazing they haven't. And of course, I might be speaking early here. They may still think of this. Amazing they haven't gone after the manufacturer of the mask for being wrong for creating a caricature of Obama with that. Who knows? But you're right. It is exactly the same thing. And why they chose this one, I think, is because we are seeing racism, the whole racial mantra that the left is trying to use to vilify the right and destroy the right. We are seeing that amplified higher and higher and higher now. And, on the heels of the Trayvon Martin case, all these other things, we are seeing situations, we are seeing a rise in black mob violence that is unbelievable across this country, and the news media does not report it. If people want to look at something that will really shake you up, pick up a book called White Girl Bleed a Lot, or buy it on Amazon, buy the ebook and just read it on your computer if you want to. But it talks about all these cases across the country that the media is not reporting, and there are case after case after case of black mob violence happening. We don't hear about that. Everything has to be not just politically correct, but racially correct today. And anybody who doesn't fit into the left's mold is vilified to try to destroy them, because they are trying to keep the right from making any progress with getting control back of the government.
I did some research this morning before I got on this program in regards to different pundits and different cartoonists, different satirists, and what they've gone into over the last 20 years in regards to using our president and that administration for humor. And one of the absolute worst, one of the absolute filthiest, one of the absolute lowest forms of humor came from the left's Bill Maher against George Bush.
I'm not surprised at all. I mean, he's a disgusting person. I don't find his humor funny. I don't think of him as a comedian. I think of him as a slime ball. But once again, it goes back to anything said or done against people on the right is okay. And George Bush certainly was not on the right. I mean, he was to the right of center, but he certainly was not a conservative. But he was a Republican, and so they see that still as bad. And so anything you do or say about them is okay in their mind. But the people on the left are untouchable, and this president has given them what they believe to be an absolute priority over anybody else for not being touched. As I say in my blog post, he was sold to us as a Messiah, as a Savior, and you cannot blaspheme the Savior, because that is sinful in their mind.
Yeah, right there is the key, and I commend you and compliment you for your blog that I have read, and I'm going to be writing about this same issue in my blog come Friday morning. But, Doug, this really has far-reaching effects as to our First Amendment rights of the freedom of speech. I mean, whether it's you writing a blog in criticism of the left and specifically Obama, or me writing on my blog, or me on my talk show, or me at a event where I might make some political humor as jokes against this administration. I should say this, how high is up with this administration and the NAACP to going after each and every case as racism?
Oh, I think the potential for what they could do to people is huge, and I don't doubt that they could use it as a way to go after people and shut people up. I will tell you, I don't make this very public, and I will not name names. I don't usually talk about this, and I've never talked about it on the radio before, but I will say it here today. I have been threatened by people. If I mention the names, your audience, everybody would know or the names if I said, for the things I write and the things I say. And I count it as only a matter of time before not only I, but all of us will be shut down if Americans don't take a stand. I think we are very close to seeing the end of our right to freedom of speech.
Did you, and this ties right in with the story we're talking about this morning, and I'm going to ask you to hold your response until I do a commercial, but I want you to think about this. When you talk about racism, and you talk about race baiting, Senator Harry Reid from Nevada said, I think one of the worst things that could have ever been said earlier this week. And I want you to respond to that in just a minute, okay? Doug Johnson on the phone with us, and we're going to have more with Doug in just a minute. Don't forget, make sense with your money and be smart with your money. Be sure and contact Idaho Lending Group at 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls, number 734-5626, NMLS number 181777, Equal Opportunity Lender, Idaho Lending Group. Can help you with your mortgages, a refinance of your mortgage. Like us, they save me a lot of time, effort, and money. Absolutely. Caring, courteous, and knowledgeable. They are very, very good. Idaho Lending Group, 1182 Eastland Drive North in Twin Falls, 734-5626. Doug, Harry Reid, after 5 years of this administration, came out and race-baited his interview the other day and said, in his very soft, effeminate voice, he said, oh, well, the reason that a lot of these people aren't getting behind Obama's programs is because he's African-American. I was absolutely incensed when I heard that. Why play the race card? I don't like Obama because of his ideology. I don't like Obama because of his politics and his policies. I'm sick of this kind of race-baiting.
Well, I agree with you, and I find it fascinating that that they get away with this, because when you think about it, it is amazing that people would even listen to it. It's such nonsense. The question I have to Harry Reid or to people in the media like Chris Matthews who are constantly screaming racism, the question I have them is it possible for a person to disagree with President Obama about anything, I don't care what the topic is, and not have it be based on race? Because if the answer is yes, then it means I can also disagree with him about policies and positions on things. But they don't accept that. They use it strictly as a weapon against the right. It is not because they believe it. It's because they want to vilify the right. And I will give Tim Scott, the only black senator we have in America, happens to be a Republican from South Carolina. He stood up to Harry Reid and he challenged him saying that he was wrong for accusing the GOP for being racist. And I'll give him credit for that. And sadly, there aren't more people doing it. The people who are not black are afraid to do it. And Washington is full of a lot of people with fear, but we have a few people with courage, and Tim Scott is one we should be keeping an eye on because I think he's got a long way to go. He's a good man, and I'm glad he stood up. But all this is just trying to vilify the people on the right and trying to destroy their chances at election by scaring the uninformed voters into thinking, oh, these people are terrible. I'll give you a quick sidelight as an example, Zeb. This morning I was reading an article on a totally different topic, had nothing to do with politics whatsoever. It was strictly about a television show and what's going on in Hollywood with some changes in some cast because somebody's leaving the show. And the show is NCIS, for those who are wondering. It's the top show on TV. And they were just commenting that one of the actors is leaving. Who are they going to replace this actor with? And somebody in the comments section after the article said, I hope they don't make it a gay character because we're just getting so many of these shows that are just putting the token gay character in. Well, this started a battle back and forth between the commenting people, and somebody said, why are you homophobic? You see, and once again, it's the same kind of thing. Mm-hmm. The left always wants to attack people and say there's something wrong with you. They don't want to hear a reasonable argument. And this is what we're seeing with the racism in politics claim. It's the same stuff all over again.
I agree. We've got a caller with a question. Quickly, caller, please.
Yes, I hope you haven't covered this. I just barely got back in my truck, but Paula Dean has been just destroyed, and she even campaign for the president, and it seems as though there's no honor anywhere with these people, or no loyalty, because they even attack their own. And I'll hang up.
The caller brings up a good point, Doug. Paula Deen is a perfect example of seeing a career just absolutely dashed on the rocks by waves that are going to keep crushing her for the rest of her life. And really, all of us have skeletons in our closet. All of us have skeletons in our closet from previous years and statements that we've made. Boy, they came after her and crushed her business.
Well, they did, and I guess, I go back to whether you believe in redemption. See, I believe people have a right to be given a chance to change. And I'll give you an example. Years ago, I was building a new home, and I was building it myself, a log home up in the mountains and a barn, and I built the barn out of steel because I was tired of my horses chewing up everything. I'm sure you've experienced that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was looking for a guy to help me. And a guy was sent over who was a friend of a friend, and we got talking, and he didn't say a lot about himself. I didn't ask a lot. And after a couple of weeks working together, just him and me, one day he said to me, you don't ask much about my background, and I appreciate that because I've got some things I just kind of keep private. And I said, look, if you want to tell me something, tell me, but otherwise it's your business as long as you do good work. Well, eventually he opened up and told me he was an ex-convict. And he said, do you have a problem with that? And I said, not as long as you're not an escaped convict, I don't. And he laughed, and over time he eventually told me, and he had been falsely convicted on a rape charge, and after 3 years in prison, DNA had proved him innocent and he was released, but his life had been destroyed. It was over.
Yep.
And so he'd moved across country and just gone where he could to work for odd jobs because he couldn't get work anymore. And he always said to me, he said, I'm amazed that you are so accepting of me. And I said, well, not only were you innocent, and I actually talked to people later who knew the situation and confirmed that he was, but I told him, I said, the fact is, even if you had done something wrong, if you are a changed person, I will give you the right to change. And as long as you've changed who you were and become a good person, I'm willing to accept you. The left does not allow for that with people on the right. If you are on the right, you are wrong, you are evil, and you will always be evil. And we have to understand there's a double standard in America, and this is what we need to put our foot down and stop, because this is the kind of thing that is destroying our country. And as I conclude in my blog post, this political correctness is doomed for our nation. This isn't just something that's annoying. This is a real problem, and it is teaching our children the wrong things, and we need to put a stop to it and put a stop to it quickly.
Doug, final thoughts. I've only got 2 minutes left here, but I stated in the first hour that Tuffy Gesling, the rodeo clown, and the announcer, and the Missouri State Fair, etc., all of them are going to lose on this situation. And Tuffy Gesling, the clown, more so than anybody else, the denigration and the absolute defamation of him and banning him for life, etc., his life is destroyed, and I don't see any way, shape, or form that he can ever restructure a career of doing what he wanted to do as far as being a humorist and a clown on weekends.
Well, that's most likely the case. And, you mentioned Paula Deen before. I didn't comment on her, but, she's going through the same thing. She'll still retain some things.
Yeah.
But her wealth and success is far beyond what this gentleman who's the rodeo clown is. And this is where we need to step up with people like this and say, hey, we don't embrace that. We want to help you. If you're familiar with Mike Gallagher, the National Radio Talk Show,
very much.
He said the other day on his show, he would like to try to help Paula Deen and her business by supporting her and giving her, people to listen to what she has to say. I think that's good. I lost a very close friend over the Paula Deen issue who was very against her, saying, no, she's terrible, and her recipes kill people and all sorts of crazy things. And the friend disowned me for standing up for her right to be who she is and to have a second chance. But I think we as conservatives need to make the difference. We need to step up and say, somebody else may reject you, but we won't. And I think Tuffy Gesling needs to be given the chance, and I would hope that Americans in other parts of the country would say, you may not be welcome in Missouri, but you're welcome here.
The whole thing boils down to the left. Don't do as I do. Do as I say. That's basically their mantra, because everything they want as an edict, they expect us to follow.
Absolutely. I think you said it really well. Don't do as I do as I say. That is how they live, and we need to reject that on all fronts.
Doug, you got to get in the car. You got to drive 700 miles and come out for a steak dinner. We'll have a barbecue. Looking forward to having you and your wife visit us. And God's blessings to you. And we'll look forward to next Wednesday when we have you back on the program. Thanks much for your comments this morning. Doug Johnson with the Horse Sense blog and also the author of No Tomorrow's Super Guide. Doug, take care of yourself.
Thanks, Ed. Have a good week.
Thank you, sir. Really appreciate Doug Johnson, the Nostradamus of political commentary. Appreciate him very much for being on the air. Holy cow, I got to pay some bills. Where am I at here? Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo this week, and we've got some great merchants that are helping advertise the Cassia County Fair and Rodeo, including the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott at 2230 West 7th Street North in Burley. Listen to this, 677-5000 for reservations. Need a break? How about a romance package at the Fairfield? A box of chocolates, a bottle of sparkling cider, a king-size suite, and a huge pool. Oh, boy! Leave the kids at Granny's. And it doesn't get any better than that at the Burley Fairfield Inn and Suites by Marriott. How about Kelly's Bearing Supply, 1407 East Main Street in Burley, 678-9398. Oh, yeah, Kelly's Bearing Supply keeps everything on hand so you don't have to waste your time or money. They got all the bearings, the chains, the brackets, everything. Zach and Brett are there, the bearing specialists. They'll help you out. Kelly's Bearing Supply in Burley. And also Fence Solutions, 2833 Overland in Burley, serving southern Idaho since 2007 with all the premium vinyl fencing, decking, and porch railings, along with a variety of vinyl products for your yard or garden. Give Corey a call. Corey, 312-9275, Fence Solutions. Okay, now, we are just about done with that. There we go. I got to put that up here. And we're going to have our next guest on the phone in just a moment. But I also want to remind you again, really important, that the third annual Idaho Liberty Summit, this is great, sponsored by the Idaho Tea Party, is going to be at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center this Friday and Saturday. Don't miss it. And I suggest and urge you to get a hold of Moon and Associates in Rupert, 436-3714, or Ramsey Heating and Electric in Burley to register for this great event. Third annual Idaho Liberty Summit. Take pride in what America was and can be again. Okay? In just a moment, we're going to be visiting with the president of the Institute for Energy Research, and I'm really looking forward to having him on my program, Thomas Pyle, so stand by for that. Lee's Furniture, blazing hot summer sale, no money down, no interest until 2014. Holy moly, have they got recliners. They got all kinds of recliners at clearance prices that are unheard of. You can get comfy, put your feet up, have a cold beverage, and watch fall football. They've got all the recliners right there. Great selection. And they got all the carpet, they got all the flooring, they've got all the bedroom sets, the mattresses, everything at prices you can't afford to pass up. At Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, 459 Overland in Burley. You stop in and see them today. Well, let's say good morning to the president of the Institute for Energy Research, Mr. Thomas Pyle. Good morning, Tom. How you doing?
Morning to you. Doing just fine, thanks.
It's nice to talk to a president that has a personality.
Well, you don't have a teleprompter either.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you had your teleprompter plugged in and ready to answer all my questions, as I'm trying to get my earpiece in so I can hear you. Tom, I hope you don't mind if I call you Tom, Thomas, or Tom, whichever you prefer.
Fine.
All right.
Fine,
you wrote a very good piece that I have right here in front of me regarding Obama's energy policies, or the lack thereof. This man, in my opinion, tell me if I'm wrong, has done more in 5 years to curtail energy usage and curtail America's right to try to go out and grow and prosper and grow their businesses, all energy related. And I think this man with his green energy policies will put us in the status of a third world country before 2016 if he keeps going like he is. Do you agree or disagree?
I agree, except for one thing. He can't get access to, or should I say, stop production on private and state lands. And were it not for the production of oil and gas and other energy resources on those private and state lands, we would be in an abysmal shape with respect to energy policy in this country. We'll already feel the repercussions of his plans and well into the next decade. But at least with this production boom taking place in North Dakota and Pennsylvania, for example, we've been able to at least keep pace in some respects. So, were not for that silver lining, it would be a dark cloud indeed with respect to energy.
Tom, with my business, and I have 2 or 3 different businesses, I have a lot of travel, private travel, that has to be taken care of on a month-by-month basis. And it's nothing unusual for me with these escalated, inflated, absolutely ridiculous energy prices to spend well over $2,000 or maybe even $2,500 a month on fuel for my vehicles. I'm getting up to the point where I'd like to retire. I'd like to sit back and enjoy the fruits of my labor. And this administration are taking money out of my retirement, taking money out of my hands, out of my pocket, needlessly, to support a stupid energy program.
Well, you can call it the Obama premium, because that is exactly what it is. This man, his administration, his agenda from day one, he's made no secret about it, is to bankrupt coal companies, which provide 40+% of our electricity, is to increase the cost of oil and natural gas, both the production and use of it here in America, and to subsidize to the tune of billions of dollars of our taxpayer money going into these green schemes that so far have produced 0 winners. They say we don't like policies that pick winners and losers. Well, his policies pick nothing but losers, and we're stuck with the bill. And you're right, it's a tragedy because it hurts low-income Americans, seniors, and folks who are on fixed incomes much worse than it hits, and then it affects the richies and the folks who can afford all this stuff and don't pay attention when they fill up at the pump, if they even drive their own cars for that matter.
Let me ask you this, Tom. Where, underneath the rug, maybe in the back closet, maybe out in the garage, but where is the electricity power going to come from after this man kills the coal industry? Where are the electrical grids going to get the power? Just tell me that.
Well, if you do the simple math, there's 2 numbers you got to remember: 85 and 2. And that's rough estimate. But coal, oil, and natural gas provide 85% of all of our energy needs. Wind and solar provide around 2. You cannot not enough wind can blow and not enough sun can shine to anywhere near replace those energy sources. And yet, all of his efforts to date have been to promote the use of those 2 energy sources at the expense of the rest. So the answer is we're going to end up all paying exorbitantly more if we want to enjoy the comforts that we have now. If we want to wash our clothes and dry our clothes and coffee makers and toasters and microwaves and all this stuff takes energy. And these guys want us to live like cavemen back in the Stone Age or something because they're not going to replace it with those sources any time in the future, and I would argue will never do so.
Tom, when you look at this thing, and I'm not an energy expert, I'm just a plain, simple old cowboy talk show host out here in southern Idaho, but you don't have to be a mental giant or a genius to realize that when you have a president that is touting green energy, he's touting the wind and the solar, he's touting all these great big tall towers to generate wind power, you're not going to push a John Deere tractor through a field to plant in the spring or harvest in the fall. You're not going to supply the electricity necessary to run all the factories, etc. This man, and I can't understand why the liberal left hasn't even stood up, the constituents of some of these congressmen and senators, why they haven't stood up and damned this Congress for being lunatics and supporting wind and solar power. Are you there? I think we lost him. Gina, I think he did.
I'm here.
Oh, there he is. I lost you for a few minutes on the cell phone. I wasn't sure where you went.
There's a fringe out there that's pushing this stuff. I mean, you have a very narrow, extreme environmental ideology that's being driven by, wealthy, hedge fund managers and some of these organizations who are being funded to the tune of billions, and he's listening to those folks. Keystone Pipeline is a perfect example. The Trans-Alaska Pipeline was conceived, engineered, designed, permits were approved and built in less time than it has taken him to ponder over the merits of this critical infrastructure project that, by the way, can create tens of thousands of jobs for Americans out there. And so, you got to ask yourself, who is he really representing in these discussions? His buddies in San Francisco, Chicago, and New York, L.A., Miami, and leaving the rest of us behind. And that's really what's happening with respect to these policies.
When you look at the overall picture of energy through the Institute for Energy Research and your office and all the studies, are there any bright spots on the horizon, both economically for the cost of energy or the productivity of more energy? Or do you see anything that's good?
Yeah, the bright spots are that we have the richest energy resources underneath our shores and our lands. The bright spot is the advances in technology is enabling us to access hordes and hordes of natural gas that we otherwise knew were there but couldn't get to. And quite honestly, what the next technology breakthrough is, I don't know the answer to that question, but I'll tell you what, if the federal government keeps subsidizing these losers, there will be no incentive out there to look for it. And so our motto is, first do no harm. Let the marketplace sort these out. Stop giving these companies, these companies with a proven track record of failure, more and more of our cash-strapped federal dollars to produce less and less of the energy we need to power our economy, and let the private sector and the free market do its job, because they do it the best.
Tom, one last question, and then I'll let you go, but I need to know this. We're looming on the midterm elections in 2014, and right now, most of the congressmen and senators have gone home and they're getting earfuls from their constituents. Do you think it'll do any good, and will they listen enough to the point where they might go back to Washington, and they might tell Obama that his policies and ideology are worthless?
Well, let's sure hope so, and here's the great part is, there's a lot of senators that are up for re-election in 2014 that represent states that are pro-energy production, and they're Democrats, and their president, their guy, is the one who's making life more difficult for their constituents. So between that and also some grievances with other policies like Obamacare, we sure hope there's a redux of 2010 here in 2014. But the folks got to keep the pressure on, because the minute we stop, they'll just ignore us as usual.
All right. Institute for Energy Research President Thomas Pyle. Tom, thanks so much for being on the program. I'll look forward to having you back in the future, sir. Thank you very much.
You bet. Anytime.
All right. God bless. Thank you. Thomas Pyle, Institute for Energy Research, on the program this morning, talking about the absolute incompetency of this administration with taking our money and flushing it down the drain through green energy. It just isn't working. Let's ride. Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. Don't forget they're open Tuesdays through Saturdays, 9 to 6. And they've got the Can-Am Maverick Max 4-seater right there at Let's Ride. You got to see this dude. Oh, my. Have fun. Have fun. And they've got a lot of the 2014 models showing up daily right there at Let's Ride. Nick and the rest of the crew, they know that they have what you're looking for. And they know they have the place where the fun is sold. Let's Ride, Highway 24 between Rupert and Burley. And don't forget, too, the best doggone service department to help you, too, at Let's Ride. Stop in and see them today. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I want to get into a couple stories that really also bother me this morning, and they need to be talked about before I go off the air today. And I'm going to get into one about a family in Colorado that has a teenage daughter with cerebral palsy, and they were legally, underline that word, legally permitted to build a ramp at their home to assist their child, but now their neighbors are going to sue them. We'll talk about that right after Michael Rogers' weather and an update. We'll take your call in a moment. Stand by.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's going to get hot, folks, and it's going to carry right into the weekend. We start out with it for today, 97 for the high. Tomorrow, the high will be 100. The day after tomorrow, you're still going to be hot, 98 for the high. What does that mean? A lot of sun, very little clouds. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, Michael. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Morning, Jeff. Listening to you talking about renewable energy and how they're pushing for green energy, are they complete morons? Are they that brain dead? Do they not have a spark in their upstairs compartment of that empty space between their ears? If there is no power generating plants, they won't be able to heat their pools or put the lights on in their mansions or be able to go to their fancy restaurants. There just won't be the power. Do they not understand that?
They're way off on a tangent of absolute total environmentalism to the point where they don't care. These people will tout that we should do this and we should do this. They're pushing the electric cars, and you won't have enough power on the grid to plug the cars in and recharge the batteries. You don't have any charging stations along the interstate anyway. I mean, this absolute asinine attitude of saying, well, you should do this and you should do that, while they go along in their Learjets and do basically whatever they want and whatever they can afford, which is almost everything. I'm fed up with it, and I'm going to rebuke their policies as being basically dumb and stupid, which they are. We are sitting and standing on an abundance, probably the world's largest abundance of energy in coal and natural gas and fossil fuel oils, and to waste that is absolutely asinine and ridiculous, and that sums up the ideology of Obama.
I can't, nothing to disagree with you. I just have a hard time believing that somebody that claims to have so much intelligence, that has gone to Harvard or whatever school or college, wherever they've gone to, cannot see that they are wrong.
All right.
They will not admit that they are wrong.
I agree with you, and Riley, thank you much for your call as always. Have a great day and enjoy the Cassia County Fair.
You do the same.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Calls are welcome and appreciated. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. You know, just when you think humanity can't get much lower, they can't find another rung on the ladder to go down deeper into the hole, oh, gee, then you hear something like this. Neighbors in Colorado Springs by this family that have a teenage girl with cerebral palsy are all upset and threatening legal action over a ramp that this family built to help get their daughter, their 16-year-old daughter, in and out of the house. Now, let's also say that they were told by the city that they could build the ramp. They were told by the city they could widen their driveway, and they do not belong to a homeowners association that required approval from the community. But the neighbors, and they must all be pond scum, absolutely are against the building of a ramp to assist a 16-year-old girl to get in and out of the house. I have never been more livid over a story in my life. Caller, stand by. I'll be right with you, I promise. I have a ramp that was built onto my deck. I'm going to be having some upcoming surgery on my leg in November, and we need the ramp to be wheelchair accessible. I built the ramp according to ADA standards so that when people come into my home to come into my studio for the program, I am complicit with the ADA standards. I dare my neighbors to ever complain about that ramp. And for these lowlifes in Colorado Springs to go after this family with a 16-year-old daughter that has cerebral palsy, I find this despicable. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning, Zeb. You're absolutely correct about this thing, but getting back to Obama, anytime there's a major decision or any kind of a decision to be made, this guy, you can find him at Martha's Vineyard, on the golf course, or on some bogus trip over to a foreign country. This guy is a total knucklehead, and he's leading us to the brink of I don't know what.
Your terminology, knucklehead, knowing you as I have for the last couple of years and your lovely wife, Mary, that was a term that you used as you had to rein in some other thoughts, I'm sure.
Absolutely. I just kind of like to hold my tongue this morning.
I thought you did admirably well, my friend, but I will reiterate what you said and agree with you, that this man, his ideology, his policies, and the liberal left, and their absolutely kill America value system is just absolutely beyond. I don't know how we're going to take it till 2016.
Well, this energy situation, you know, Iran is going to be shut down here pretty soon from the Middle East.
Yeah.
I think the Keystone Project is in limbo, and Canada has already got customers for their oil.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think it's going to do to us? Pretty soon you'll be paying $5 or $6 for a loaf of bread. It's going to shut down the trucking industry because there's going to be a huge oil shortage.
I agree, and right now the American public is subservient to whatever the whims are, the environmental movement, which is in bed with Obama, and it's going to get worse before it gets better. But I'm going to keep fighting every day on this program, Tony. I promise you that. God bless you, man.
Okay, bud.
Thank you.
Bye.
What are your thoughts about neighbors? Neighbors that would absolutely stoop so low as to criticize and threaten a lawsuit against a family because visually they didn't like the look of a ramp that was built into their neighbor's home because of a 16-year-old girl in a wheelchair that needed it because she has cerebral palsy. And a local news outfit in Colorado Springs, Colorado, went to visit. Now here's where the lack of nerve, lack of conviction, or if you want to put it simply, lack of guts comes in. The local news outlet visited the next door neighbor, and the next door neighbor declined to comment. I just can't imagine how you could be that kind of a, and I'm putting this in quotation marks, human being, low enough to complain someone else is dealing with a couple of bad cards that life dealt them, and this girl's trying to do the best she can at 16 years of age with cerebral palsy. The parents are doing the best they can to make sure they assist and do everything for their daughter with cerebral palsy, and some rotten, lousy neighbors, if you want to call them that, are complaining about the building of a ramp. Every one of those neighbors should absolutely be embarrassed to look in the mirror. What kind of people are these? Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Come on, I want to hear your opinion or viewpoint on this story. When you think about life insurance, think about Cameron and Siemens Insurance. When you think about health insurance, don't forget retirement planning, employee benefits. Yep, that's it. Those two guys do a great job. Dean, Cameron, and Todd Siemens. Absolutely, they're accessible and responsive to all your needs. Call them at 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Really nice people. Your turn. Come on, don't leave me hanging here. I want to hear what your thoughts are about neighbors threatening a lawsuit over a handicap ramp. It's unbelievable. This is just unbelievable. I heard about this story. Deanne pulled it up on the website, and I cannot understand how anybody could sink to that lowness to threaten legal action over the building of a ramp when they, first of all, don't belong to a homeowners association. They've got permission from the city. They already had permission to build the ramp and also to widen their driveway. But the neighbors are all bent out of shape about a handicap ramp for this girl with cerebral palsy. How do you get that low? How really do you get that low? Another story that really bothers me and it needs to be mentioned here this morning is that you probably heard about 3 black teenagers in Florida. They got on a school bus and they beat up and almost could have killed a white 13-year-old on the bus, and they were ended up charged as juveniles, and they walked. They got 9 months probation. Disgusting. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Hi, I just want to comment about the ramp. It seems like we live in this society where it's all about me. It doesn't matter what's going on with our neighbors or anyone else. It's just about what I want, what looks good, what I care about. Too bad for you if you're having a hard time. I just think that's a sad state. I mean, everything you've talked about could be lumped into the, I only care about me.
You know, let me ask you this. You sound like a lady that really cares about your neighbor and about your lifestyle and about your family. If I were living in that area, I think I would have picked up a hammer and a nail, even though I'm deadly with a hammer and nails. I'm not a very good carpenter. I would have gone over and volunteered my time to help them build the ramp.
Well, if you're a good neighbor, that's what you would do because you want to help them out. They have a tough situation. They have this daughter they love that they want to help, and the neighbors should be right there with them.
You know, how do you get this low, though? I want to ask you this question. As a neighborhood, how do you get as low as to saying that you're going to start legal action to stop them from building a ramp, and then when the local television people and radio people want to do an interview with those people, they slam the door and they don't want to be on tape or they don't want to be on camera? What kind of low-life people are these?
Well, I think they're the kind of people that don't care about anybody but themselves in the first place, and they don't go out of their way to make friends with their neighbors, apparently, and I think they didn't talk to the news because they know they're wrong.
Absolutely. And I'm going to try to find out more about this family, and Heidi Giesig is the mother's name, and what I'm going to try to do, if not this week, next week, maybe get her on the phone and have her come on this program, because I pray for them, I pray for their daughter, and I also pray that maybe some good will come out of this, and all of a sudden a lightning bolt will hit their neighbors, and all of a sudden they'll say, oh, boy, were we bad people.
We can hope.
Okay, God bless you for your call. Thank you much.
Thank you.
Nice
Bye-bye.
lady right there. Appreciate that. How do you get that way? I mean, they're going through trauma enough with their daughter, and they're trying to provide as many safety measures and measures to make it more of ease to get her into the car and out of the car and back into the house. How do you be a neighbor and start a lawsuit because, well, visually, we don't like that ramp? Oh, my. Good morning, caller. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. Visually, I don't like that neighbor.
Well, that's obvious.
You know, I think it's stupid. If people need help, they need help. And somebody that can't get out needs to have a way of getting out. If for no other reason, their life could be threatened there from fire or some other thing. Mm-hmm. And they're trapped.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, it's ridiculous to criticize somebody because they're having a problem.
Well, now, Jerry,
can't help.
Jerry, one point here that I'd like you to quickly give me a short answer on. There is no homeowners association. There is no requirement that they have to do what the neighbors want, but yet the neighbors are going to sue them for putting up a ramp for their daughter. And if it were me and I were one of the parents, I'd say, bring it on, because I'm going to take everything you got in the long run. I'm going to countersue and nail your hide to a wall.
Well, I think you got the idea perfectly there. They ought to go after that neighbor. You know, it isn't right. People, when they need help, need help.
Absolutely.
And that's all there is to it.
Absolutely.
And anybody that deprives them of, you know, the right to be able to be mobile and move around, it's ridiculous.
Jerry, thank you as always for your comments this morning. Appreciate it, my dear friend. Thank you.
You bet. Bye-bye.
God bless.
Wonderful day. May the Lord bless.
He already has. Thank you, sir. This story is going to have legs like the story we had in the first hour about the Missouri State Fair, and I'm going to do a lot more checking on this and find out if I can't get the Colorado parents on my program next week and talk about this. But really, when you think about it, building a ramp to assist their handicapped daughter and now being threatened with legal action from their neighbors because they say the ramp is an eyesore. How low can you go? Pretty bad. Pretty bad. Coming up next hour, and he just kind of sashayed into the room. That's what John Wayne used to do, is kind of sashayed into the room. Of course, John Wayne was kind of knock-kneed. Are you knock-kneed? You're not. Okay, well, you're not John Wayne. Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fishing Game is here for our monthly report of all the little furry things and things that fly and buzz around and sting you and bite you and everything. He's going to be on the program in the next 30 minutes. 30 minutes. In the next 6 minutes, well, we're going to cut him off short. And we'll be back right after this. What did you say?
I said oops.
You didn't say oops. It came over the microphone. I heard it loud and clear. Yeah, yeehaw. Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Zeb at the Ranch with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you, along with some of our great advertisers, including Lee's Furniture, Floors, and More at 459 Overland and Burley, and our friends at Western Way Services, always at your disposal. Get on the route service today. Call them. 734-6969. I got to turn this. Is this you? Say something.
Hello.
No, that's not you. Okay, now try this one.
Howdy.
Yeah. Howdy, Tex. How's your horse? Kelton Hatch is here with the fishing game. He's killing one of my little toy horses on my desk here. You poor thing, he's squeezing his eyes out. We're going to have more with Kelton in just a minute, even though you might not want to. But anyhow, we're going to have more with Kelton momentarily as we tell you about the Chadwick Sports Grill at 139 West Main in Burley. Oh, listen. Today they're going to have pasta primavera with garlic toast and super salad. You're going to love that as the senior special for today from 4 to 6 p.m. for only $5.95. Oh, ripping good food, super nice people, great atmosphere. What more could you want? Stop in. You're going to love it. The Chadwick Sports Grill, 139 West Main in Burley. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I thought, honestly, that the Idaho Fishing Game, over the last couple of months when they've been on this program, had really started to make a turn. They started to make a change of direction when it came to supplying me with information for this program, because for 2 months in a row, I was spoiled by having a typewritten, double-spaced notice as to what we were going to talk about this morning. But today, things have gone back in a regression mode to where Kelton Hatch sat out in the parking lot of my office and wrote longhand what we're going to talk about. And I got to be honest with you, your penmanship is almost as bad as mine. How are you?
We probably went to the same school, the Chicken Scratch Writing Academy.
How you doing?
You know, great. Okay. Been having a good time over the Cassia County Fair and talked to a lot of folks last night, and things have just been going good.
Okay. Now, with all the accord of how things are going great, there are some bad times for the state of Idaho, as you well know. Governor Otter has said that we're in the middle of a fire disaster, quite frankly.
It's terrible.
How bad really is it up north? I don't know the severity of what's really going on because I haven't been up there.
Well, if you have a tag north of Fairfield, you probably won't be hunting there.
Really? That's how bad it is.
Unit 44 is a unit just above Fairfield. It's a really tough, it's a difficult unit, really a coveted tag. About 1 in 25 drawing odd. For a deer tag, about 1 in 50 for an elk. 2/3 of that unit's gone.
Oh my goodness! Now, that area is where? Kind of lay it out geographically.
Oh, basically just right there above Fairfield.
Okay.
That stuff right to the
going
summit.
Towards Featherville.
Just north
North
of
it.
Fairfield,
I see.
and
I see.
to the Featherville Road, and then back over to Rock Creek Road.
I see.
And it's just
I
that
see.
stretch of country in there, but it's really torched that. Mayfield over out of Boise, down by Mountain Home. Unit 39, they're actually giving rain checks for the deer tag. They got a deer hunt, that 200 tag deer hunt that opens on the 15th tomorrow, and there's most of the unit you can't get into. I mean, they've almost got a full closure on the Boise as well as the Sawtooth National Forest down there. That complex alone is about 150,000 acres.
Wow.
And combined with the stuff up, and there's a fire just outside of Sun Valley that just skipped up over Baker Creek, and it's crossed Warm Springs, and it's burning all that inside stuff over by Haley. We've just got a lot of fires. What we're doing right now is, if you do have a tag for Unit 39, they're trying to contact the folks that drew that tag. You can go in and exchange that tag for a general season tag and get a rain check for that tag next year, so that you can get that Unit 39 tag back if we don't have a fire next year. We're right now in the Smoky Zone. That's at Unit 48 and 43 right there outside of Haley and Fairfield. If you have a over-the-counter archery tag, that A tag, that hunt opens end of the month. You can exchange that tag right now for no charge before the season starts. Bring that tag in, and you can pick up a elk tag for other places. We're holding off right now on Unit 44 because we're hoping that we'll get some type of weather in here to knock that out. But from all the reports, I was talking to the Forest Service, they're really not anticipating getting this knocked out. It sounds like this is the way it's moving. I mean, it moved 50,000 acres in one day.
50,000 acres in one day?
And if we get, with the heat...
oh, my goodness. It's supposed to get up to 100 degrees tomorrow.
It's supposed to be hot, and if we get any type of wind with it, it just scares the devil out of me. So, we've got another little fire over here by Yale Road, just outside of Cassia County. You're starting to see pretty good smoke from it. I don't really have an update on it, how it's going. I do know it's growing. So I guess the only thing I can say is just be really, really, really cautious when you're out there.
Okay, let's talk a little bit, and I don't want to take a lot of time. You've got a great list here this morning to visit with. But what about the South Hills? I was up there the other day, and I was up by where last year's burn had taken place, and there's been a real big refurbishment of the grass up there, a lot of growth, etc. But now it's a tinderbox again. Is everybody keeping a real wary eye on that mess up there?
You bet. I mean, as close as anybody can. This is the major disaster. I mean, it's the number one fire concern in the United States. The stuff up by Fairfield and Sun Valley. I know that the Forest Service is really spread thin, but people are being pretty cautious on all these other areas. And so, when you're out and about, if you're out working on farms and stuff like that, be really cautious that your blow torches, your welders, your pickups, don't park them in tall grass. It's like I said last month, my daughter, where she works, one of the folks was driving their truck around and got the whole catalytic converter in that area stuffed with straw and grasses, and it started a little fire under their truck.
Well, let's not talk about that, because since I saw you the last time,
your truck. Your truck's back. I
got it back. Yeah.
I like the flames. The flames on the side.
No, the refurbishment was excellent, but we ran the risk up by the craters of the moon of having that entire desert become inflamed, because we were just kicking everything we could out of there to try to put the fire out of the pickup and the trailer.
They'd have probably called that the Zeb Bell complex.
Oh, I thought they were going to call me a lot of things, but really, in an emergency, you can't help what happens.
No, you can't. And so, I started a fire when I was hauling a load of straw. Some of the straw bales got over on one of the wheels.
Yep, absolutely.
And that's pretty spooky. But so just be really cautious when you're out there. If you have any questions on your hunt, one thing I really wanted to touch about, skipped over, Zeb, is we have a brand new web app.
Okay.
Out on our...
Is that what you're talking about here with the fire app?
I am. It's a fire app. You can go to our Fish and Game website and download a fire app to your phone so that you can pull up all the current fires in your zones. Or you can just go to the Fish and Game Hunt Planner, click on the zone that you're planning on hunting, and it will show you any of the fires that are going on, where their location is, what roads are closed. It's interactive with the Forest Service websites, and so it will give you all the data that you need to plan your next hunt, or the day before you're taking off, or a week before. If you want to double check, you can go to our Fish and Game website or go on your phone app, and you can check what the fire activity in those areas are.
All right, we've got a caller with a question. Good morning, you're on the air.
Good morning. I had a question about dove season.
Okay.
It says in the book that you can hunt these Eurasian collared doves at any time and at any amount of harvest, as long as you've got your Idaho licenses and everything. And I was wondering, that means like 12 months out of the year you can hunt this dove?
Yeah, this dove is not a native to Idaho. It's migrated in here. It's out competing our resident dove, our native dove. And the only rule change on that is if you harvest one in the field, you have to leave a wing attached so that the officer knows what kind of dove it is. They can tell by if you leave one of the wings attached. But you can take those with a pellet gun, a wrist rocket, whatever you want.
Okay, I want to ask some questions. Caller, thank you for your call. I appreciate that. And I do thank the caller for his call because I have some questions about these doves. Explain to me which ones are the bad ones and which ones are the good ones, because we have been taken over here by a very kind of a light-colored, almost kind of a light pink-colored dove that does have a band around its neck, and they seem to be very
they're bigger,
ominous against the other birds, etc. in this area. Are those the ones you're referring to?
The Eurasian collared dove, it does have like a horse collar around the
black
neck.
line around the neck.
Around the neck. It's larger.
Yeah.
It actually has a different tone to it, and it does obnoxious, and they're much more people friendly than typical doves. I mean, they'll hang around your house a lot.
Oh, they are
closer in the backyard, and then they don't migrate.
Yeah,
they stay here year round pretty much, and
but
so
you can go ahead and shoot those anytime.
You can. Just be cautious of because regular doves are federally protected. They're a migratory bird.
Yeah.
So be really cautious, but if you have those Eurasian collared doves, you can shoot those at any time. We'd just as soon have them out of the population.
Why is it? What makes them such a bad hombre?
Well, it's just they're just out competing our other doves. They're a bigger bird. They got caught here probably on a wind activity, jets, some type of storm. They started moving. They got blown off track, basically, and now they're in this area, and they're multiplying and replenishing and out competing our native doves for habitat.
Really? Okay. Got to do a commercial. I'll be right back. Don't forget, would you like to start earning $30,000 to $40,000 a year in as little as 4 or 5 weeks? That's what Kelton makes every month. Then call Lucky Bourne at CSI's new Sage Truck Driving School in Burley right now. 878-5802. You'll get one-on-one over-the-road training and all the necessary endorsements. And when you've earned your CDL, their team will even help you get your first truck driving job. Yeah, buddy. New classes begin every week. Call Lucky Bourne right now at the new CSI Truck Driving School in Burley, 878-5802. Last chance tags. What do you mean, last chance tags?
Well, tomorrow's the last chance to put in for any of our leftover permits. What we have is we have a list. You see, Zeb, right here, I brought you a list. There's 1, 2, 3 pages of tags that people did not pick up from the first application.
All right.
You can go online, get those hunts that are left over, and go in and apply for those tags. And tomorrow's the last day. And then you can find out whether you drew a controlled hunt or not.
Oh, okay. I really felt bad that I couldn't put in for this year's draw because I'm not going to be able to go hunting this fall. I'll be in the hospital. And, man, I'm going to miss hunting this year. I had such a good time last year.
It is. Even if you don't harvest, it's just nice to be able to get out there.
I didn't last year. I did not get a close enough shot. And I'm using an open sight rifle. And 30-30, and quite frankly, if it's not 150 to 200 yards max, I'm not going to take a chance.
Yep, and so and that's the ethical thing to do.
Yeah.
That really is the ethical thing to do. But even if a person doesn't harvest, I always go bow hunting.
Yeah.
And it's just because I can go up and take a nice afternoon siesta in the hills.
Yeah, but you do that every day in your pickup over at the office at the fishing game anyway.
It's too hot this time of year. Later in the fall, it's okay.
Hey, what about proposed waterfowl season? What are you talking about here? Proposed waterfowl season.
Well, what goes on, we get some dates.
Okay.
We get a 170-day season, basically, from the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. We can use this 107 days each year to set our waterfowl seasons. And so, basically, we try to figure out what dates we want those on. And the proposed seasons for this year is we're going to have a season from September 21st. Can occur between September 21st to July 26th.
Mm-hmm.
Our proposed season is going to be October 12th to the 24th.
Okay.
Just like last year. And Idaho Falls, the other part of the state is going to be October 5th to January 17th. We're proposing to have a 7-duck limit, 2 female mallards, 2 redheads, 3 scallops, 2 pintails and 2 canvasbacks can be in that bag limit.
That sounds like a fraternity party.
Kind of, yeah. Trust you. 4 Canadian geese.
And a partridge in a pear tree.
And those are our proposed seasons. I'm going to have a copy of this at the Cassia County Fair booth. If people want to look at it a little closer, but the Fish and Game Commission's meeting next week in Idaho Falls, and guess what? I've got the location.
Ladies and gentlemen, some things impress me on this program and some things do not. But when you have the complete information as to where the meeting is going to be, the address, and the telephone number, I am in a state of shock.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
August 19th, Upper Snake River Regional Office at 4279 Commercial Circle, Idaho Falls. They're going to be talking about the elk plan. We got a 10-year elk management plan they're going to be talking about. It's they're probably going to release that for public review for 30 days right after that meeting. And then
while
we're going to do the waterfowl seasons. And so if you have any questions, you can go there. This is only a one-day meeting, no public meeting, but you can go up and listen.
Yeah.
And
what's the number to call?
It is 334-208, of course. 334-5159.
Okay. Hey, by the way, I was going to go back to the fires and the severity of these fires. And the elk and the deer herds and everything, boy, have they had spotters on planes as to where they're migrating to get out of those fire areas? What's going on?
It is really rough. There's 100 cattle burn up in that fire up there by Fairfield.
Wow.
We found several deer and elk that have also met the same fate. They had a video of about 20 head of deer coming running out of the fire, but the smoke swirled and they all turned and ran right back into it.
Oh, no.
And so, they're just scattering any direction. One of the big issues is when we get high winds, they get crown fires, and it just stays in the top of the trees and skips.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it jumped 50,000 acres in one day.
My
You got these
goodness.
crown fires. And so we're losing wildlife in this. It really is a major concern because typically we'll have, 1,000-plus elk that migrate down to that Mayfield area. Just outside of Mountain Home, when you're driving down towards Boise, you always see all those elk. That's toast. That whole we've just got to pray for some late fall rains, and hopefully we'll get some green up to kind of tide those elk over that migrate down into there. Otherwise, I'm really, really concerned about elk on the interstate, elk on all the farmers' property down there.
Yeah.
We could have major depredation problems down there this winter on haystacks and hay and, winter barley and winter wheat.
Have most of the fires, Kelton, been caused by dry lightning strikes? Has that been the reason?
Yep,
Has
lightning.
it?
Yeah, I was back over home over at the ranch last week, and we're just driving down the road, and all of a sudden,
bang!
Yeah, I mean, it happened just outside the window, and you seen the smoke, and within, you had 40-knot winds that were swirling, and I mean, fortunately, we were able to jump on that fire and only burn about 100 acres, but man, that took off quick, and that's what happened up here. I mean, some of these were just remote. We had multiple lightning strikes. They jumped on a few, but couldn't get to them all, and some of them just blew up.
How many acres have in all in the state of Idaho right now are under siege with fires? Do you have any idea?
I don't. I know that this one complex just close here is over 250,000 acres.
Goodness sakes.
And so we've got, there's multiple fires all the way across the state. If you go to the INSEE, it's called INSEE website.
Yeah.
It shows you all, it gives you updates on all the fires that are going on across the state.
Is this going to affect not only this year, but in the next year also, hunting and camping and everything else in those respective areas?
You bet. I mean, it has an impact all the way across on habitat, I mean, just a little bit of everything. It's going to, we still, from that big fire that they had down over in the Bennetts, I mean, most of that country is still closed to off-road or even any type of travel just because of the animals that are migrating down there. We're trying to keep in those areas so that they don't get pushed off into other areas, and it's going to take several years for habitat to regrow and come back in. It's good for elk in the short term because next year things will be good for elk because they're grazers. They like the grass.
Right.
The ones that are really impacts is any of your sagebrush dependent critters like, cottontails and mule deer and sage grouse
itself.
Yeah. And so, but it'll be interesting.
Real quick, I've got a break coming up in 3 minutes, but I want you to respond. I said it before. I've said it to you on this program, and I said it after the program a couple of weeks ago, as a matter of fact. Long discussion about sage grouse, endangered species, possibly, and still having a hunting season. It does not make sense to me.
Well, one of the biggest reasons, I was going to give you those dates too, is because we're actually looking at the sage-grouse season from, I think it's the 17th to the 21st this year. And the reason that we do that is it's what our proposed sage-grouse season this year is September 21st to the 27th. And the biggest reason is we take so minimal numbers, and there's a lot of folks. I mean, it would be hard on me if I didn't get to hunt sage-grouse. It was one of the main birds that I grew up with hunting.
Yeah, but if they turn into an endangered species listing and everybody is going to suffer, and now habitat and everything is being looked at, and ranchers are being scrutinized for their grazing practices, which makes no sense to me because the birds have always thrived with the cattle. You know that, being a rancher. If they've got to make cutbacks and make changes, then why have a hunting season where some people are going to absorb the bird as far as usage and killing the bird and others can't?
Because we kill so few of them. If somebody has a vested interest or a desire, we get more support for an animal. All of a sudden you take it off the docket and nobody can do anything and it's just another bird out there, people lose interest in it. I mean, right now we've got a group of hunters that are like myself that are going to do whatever they can to preserve sage grouse. We've got buy-in from the public, and we have such a minimal harvest. I mean, you're looking at $4 a gallon petrol right now, gas. Close to it, $3.75 to $4.
Oh, diesel's way.
And diesel's way. But well, I'm not rich enough like you to drive a diesel, so I just drive a gas burner. But it's tough to drive out there and I'll go out and take all my kids out and we'll go hunt one day.
Yep.
So we'll take 3 birds typically, 3 maybe 4 birds, depending on if all 3 of my kids go or not. But that's pretty much it. When I grew up, that was a 3 bird a day limit for 2 to 3 months. Numbers are down, and I understand.
You're going to have to do a lot of convincing to have me accept the fact that if it's possibly going to be endangered on the list, why even have a hunting season?
There's a lot of birds out there still. Yeah. There's just a lot less than there was 10, 15 years ago.
I've got to do a break. Hey, I'm going to talk about a fair next week that you're familiar with. It wasn't too far from your neck of the woods, and that's the Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo in Tremont, Utah. Really some good folks down there, and their fair theme is blue jeans and country dreams. You better believe it, they're going to have a ripping good 2013 Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo. Next Tuesday, the 20th, team branding and a kids' calf scramble, and then on Wednesday, the 21st, don't forget the famous bulls, broncs, and barrels, and then Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, the great big, it is huge, Golden Spike Rodeo, and this is going to be ripping good with that big screen. Oh my goodness, it's outstanding. Don't forget the Box Elder County Fair and Golden Spike Rodeo in Tremont, Utah, August 19th through the 24th. Ladies and gentlemen, also, if somebody knocks on your door and says, "Hi, I'm here and I'm selling Dish and DirecTV. I'd like to get in your house and talk to you about switching your service," and they might also say they may even be associated with Quali's Electronics. No, they're not. No, they're not. They're lying if they say that. Quali's Electronics stands on its own at their location at 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Number to call, 733-4910. They will help you find out what's best for you with either Dish or DirecTV, and they can install it and provide the local service and ensure your satisfaction. Work with the professionals. Quali's Electronics, 1730 Kimberly Road in Twin Falls. Caller, I'm going to ask your patience. Stay with us. We've got a hard break right now back at the studio. I'll be right back in 2 minutes. Don't go away.
And now back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KVAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
Thank you very much. Welcome back. Glad to be back in the saddle, and we're talking to Kelton Hatch with the Idaho Fish and Game. Don't forget the 3rd Annual Idaho Liberty Summit. It's coming up this weekend at the Best Western Burley Inn and Convention Center. Oh, yes, get a hold of Moon and Associates and Rupert or Ramsey Heating and Electric for this grand event. Get pre-registered and support America. Take pride in what America was and can be again. This event sponsored by the Idaho Tea Party. 3rd Annual Idaho Liberty Summit coming up this weekend. Do not miss it. Okay, Kelton Hatch is in the studio, and we have a caller with a question. Good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning, Zeb.
Yes, sir.
You know, I hunted pheasant up till about 1968. I think it's when they dropped the limit from 8 down. At that point in my life, I quit hunting them because I felt they were endangered. I felt we were taking too many of them. And I've never hunted them since, and I won't, because I didn't think it was right to have a season on a bird that was depleting so fast. I realize they're not native to Idaho, and I realize that their numbers, you know, they die out every year anyhow, supposedly. I don't know how they keep surviving if they all die out, but I think this sage grouse thing is insane. I think there should be no limit on them. You know, I don't think we ought to even be able to hunt them.
Let's have...
And I agree with Zeb there. If it's an endangered species, let's take them off the market.
Yeah.
If salmon's endangered, let's not have them on the table. If halibut's endangered, let's not have them on the table. Let's stop using them. But I think a lot of this is baloney. And I think they're doing things environmentally to destroy the sage grouse purposely. And I'll get off and shut my mouth.
Okay, Jerry.
From here on, you know, it's just to me ridiculous to have a season on a bird that's, they say is, you know, not surviving in numbers that need to be to keep it alive.
All right, Jerry, appreciate your comments. I'll have Kelton respond on the air. Go ahead, Kelton. Real close to the mic.
You know, I can definitely understand your feelings on things like that. We get comments like that, but I don't know that it's a tough question in a lot of ways. And I guess the thing that we're looking at right now, there still is a lot of birds out there. Several thousand birds, one of the biggest populations of sage grouse in the United States. There's 2 mega populations, one right down here in Shoshone Basin and another one over in Wyoming. And those are a couple of the largest hubs for sage grouse in the country. I won't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, I shot a bomber last year, a great big sage grouse. He's in at the taxidermist right now because I didn't know whether we'd have a season this year. And I think it's one of those things that we're just trying to hang on to, whether it's wrong-headed or not. It's just one of those things that we haven't had enough comment on, and we haven't been able to see a biological impact from hunting because it's so few that we end up harvesting a year, because it's a mandatory. I mean, everybody that hunts, I mean, like the Shoshone Basin, we used to check almost 600 hunters a day, and we'd check, I can't remember how many sage grouse. Last year we checked like 40.
See, here's the difference that I have on this situation, though, Kelton. If the powers that be in the government and the environmental groups are going to team up and try to push and promote that the sage grouse should be an endangered species and kill communities, kill the ranching and farming industries, and literally turn a lot of this state and other states into a dust bowl, economically in ruin, because of a bird that could be worked with on habitat. You could work with the various groups. You could set a 3 or a 5 year program for restoration of habitat. Wait a minute. I know you do, but they're not listening on the federal level, and they want to go ahead and stick this bird on the endangered species list, which would absolutely put a nullification to everything else.
Yeah, it's a tough deal. The BLM is really working really, really close with us. We get a ton of funding from the BLM to go out and do Dixie Harrow projects, and a Dixie Harrow projects is where you chain old decadent sagebrush, and then we have a cedars that go on the back of these cats that fling forbs and native seeds back in that area, which increases the overall palatability of the vegetation in that area, which helps pronghorn and rabbits, and especially the projects are geared for sage grouse. And so,
but I think that government, left alone to its own wares, will do everything it can to hurt businesses, private enterprise, and put animals and birds ahead of human beings in making a lifestyle.
I guess I take offense to that because I don't.
I didn't say you personally.
Well, I know, but
when I look at governmental controls, governmental controls, and the environmental movement says basically private enterprise, ranching, farming, businesses, communities, etc., that live in rural areas basically be damned for a bird. Are you kidding? I can't buy that.
I think that's why we're fighting so hard for it.
And I agree with your concept that you personally are, but there are others that aren't.
I think our department is too.
Okay.
And the BLM. I mean, I do believe that there's a lot of push to try to improve the habitat. The last thing anybody wants to see is, the economic backbone of a community, at least in this area. And I'm not talking for other parts of the country and things like that. But no, it's a tough one, and it's going to get worse, and that's the thing that scares me.
But you take like these fires. Take the fire situation. That is something that was not caused by anybody, any humankind, and it was just basically a lightning strike. And it's eliminated the habitat. It's created more of a stress fracture on the bird and the habitat for the bird. All of these things considered, there has to be a little bit of a copacetic relationship to where they say, well, let's work here, let's not just throw the baby out with the bathwater.
But you see, sometimes I'm really going to be interested to see what these fires do in the next 15, these major catastrophic fires that we've had, to see what type of a change that they're going to have to the overall environment in the next 10 to 15 years. Because we do have a lot of old decadent sagebrush out there that doesn't provide high-quality habitat for them, but when you burn 500,000 acres off, it removes almost all the habitat. It'll be interesting when this comes back, if it comes back stronger. If we have better habitat, we'll have higher nesting success, and that could bring sage grouse back. It may take 10, 15, 20 years to do that. And I think you're going to see a steady decline until basically the habitat or their places to live can reset itself. Back to more of a, in the old days you had a lot of different burns every year because they didn't fight every fire. And I think there's just so many overlying things that have had an impact on sage grouse. I guess the one thing that really scares me, this gentleman, I appreciate his call. You can tell that he's devoted to wildlife and stuff. Not everybody are like that. And if a person can't do something with it like hunting or fishing for it and stuff like that, they kind of just erase it out of their mind, and why even worry about it?
Yeah.
But if you get people bought in on, I can hunt this, let's do the most that we can for it, I guess that's kind of what the philosophy we're going with keeping the season.
Okay. I will...
Was that long enough answer for you?
It only took 3 days. I will agree to disagree with you on certain points, respectively.
Well, and I appreciate that.
Respectively. Even though I've provided the muffins and also the water.
Your wife provided the muffins and the water. She's a sweetheart.
Who paid for it?
Probably her.
No. Anyway, don't forget the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo going on right now in Burley. And some of the great merchants that say come on down to the fair include Perkins Family Restaurant at the Best Western Inn at 800 North Overland in Burley. I love their homemade pies, cookies, and all the desserts, and including the breakfast, lunch, and dinner. All the food is great anytime, all the time at Perkins Family Restaurant at the Best Western Inn in Burley. Pickett Equipment Company, known worldwide for the best in bean equipment, 976 East Main Street in Burley. Steve and the crew, they can help you, 678-0855. Farmers, be sure and get a hold of them today. Go on the website, PickettEquipment.com. Pickett Equipment Company in Burley. Also, thanks to Magic Valley Irrigation at 44 East, 500 South of Burley, 678-3101. They've been offering irrigation system service and repair to the Burley area since way back in 1978, and their specialists are ready to serve you. 678-3101, Magic Valley Irrigation. And last but not least, Bretters Showcased at 2611 Overland in Burley, 878-2000, the number to call. Oh my goodness, they're having all kinds of prizes during Fair Week, and they've of course got the Serta mattresses at Bretters Showcase for a great night's sleep. Stop in, and also they've got the perfect sleeper right there at Redder's Showcase, 2611 Overland Avenue in Burley. And those are just some of the businesses saying, come on in to the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. And today, the parade's going on right now. It started about 15 minutes ago. Tonight, they've got the big team ranch sorting in the rodeo arena. And Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, don't forget the great big PRCA rodeo. And also Friday and Saturday at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, parimutuel horse races. A lot to do at your Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. What are you doing over at the Cassia County Fair?
I'm visiting with folks.
You're visiting with folks?
Yep, we have a little booth over there. We're on poaching and just talking to folks. They come through and ask questions, and we try to answer them or try not to confuse them too much.
Mm-hmm. So you work all the fairs?
We have booths at most all the fairs. Yeah.
Booths or booze?
Booze.
Booths.
In the booths. No. We actually have Doug Myers. You met Dougie.
Yes.
Him and Steve Ross are over walking in the Cassia County Fair right now, and Gene Wright.
So you want people to just see their uniform and then come up and say hello?
They're handing out candy.
I see. Handing out candy?
Yeah. And then we've got the Cap trailer over there, and so we're making an appearance over there, and they'll be over in Gooding later today.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're trying to just get out and visit folks and hopefully answer a few questions.
I am from the Midwest and used to do a lot of fishing up on the Great Lakes. Mm-hmm. And I have a huge respect for the Great Lakes and also the big, and I mean really big, fish that are in the Great Lakes, like the muskie. Mm-hmm. We're going to talk right after this phone call about a record tiger muskie that was caught here in the state of Idaho. So stand by. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yeah, Zeb, I'd like to ask Kelton on this Area 53 why that is just strictly for bow and arrow, and why they can't have a short-range weapon east of Highway 93, especially for handicap. If you've got a handicap card, that should include wherever that we could hunt. I mean, I'm involved. I can't walk over about 100 feet, and I'm out of air. I'm on oxygen. And I know you've got a handicap problem, too. And why don't they make that accessible for handicapped people, even if it is with short-range weapon instead of strictly bow and arrow?
That's a good question.
If you answer that for me, I'd appreciate it.
You bet, sir. Thank you for your call. Kelton, please respond to that, man.
Basically, because nobody's asked, this hunt was set up several years ago. Landowner had a lot of problem in the Cassia County, in Unit 53 East. A lot of people trespassing, coming in onto their properties. We actually just made that a controlled hunt archery this 2 years ago because we had so many people in there and we had more issues with trespassing. The single biggest reason is because it's such a populated area. Everybody's farming along the edge of the Snake, and we just run into a lot of issues. You have to have pretty much permission to hunt 90% of that unit. And the archery hunt had worked out really well down there. We have very few, we're getting good access for sportsmen, and we have very few landowner complaints with the archery program, and that's basically why it's been left as an archery hunt. We do have the short-range weapons on the other side of the interstate. We got a few more islands down in that area, and a lot of people use their shotguns, muzzle loaders, crossbows, or whatever they want to shoot those with, and there's not a lot more private property, but there's just a few more places people can hunt with short-range guns and things like that.
But to go back to what you said originally is if you have a question as to why something isn't accessible, all they have to do is call the office at 324-4359 over in Jerome and maybe put that before a docket of discussion.
It is. That's exactly right. I mean, typically, I think it's going to be a battle now because it's so entrenched in the archers, and we've got a very active archery clubs that have fought for that hunt. And but I mean, it's always open. Bring those suggestions to our sportsman's meeting, and I'll pass it on to the powers that be at the office. And it is something to consider, but it's kind of, I guess, it's kind of the squeaky wheel gets the grease.
I agree.
If you've only got one or two people squeaking, we're not going to grease it much.
Yeah. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Yes, I was kind of wondering what the wolf situation is with the fires. I mean, do they move out? Do they stay put? Are they, we're going to have a problem somewhere else because they're all moving out of the area where the fires are to other locations? I'll listen in.
Killed man, appreciate that. That's a good, fair question. And I read a story the other day that all of the wolves have moved up to Sun Valley and are living at Clint Eastwood's house. Is that right? No, seriously, what's going on?
I'm sure they're just going to be just like the other wildlife. They're just trying to get the heck out of Dodge. I'm sure that some of them will probably be consumed in the fires, just like the other wildlife. And, I mean, it could, one thing about pack situations up there, if it does relocate, and most of our territories do have packs in them, and so there'll probably be infighting, and it could actually overall, I mean, and this is just me speculating. I'm not saying this is going to be gospel, but I could actually see conflicts between packs and a reduction of wolves because stronger packs would kill, or other wolves would be pushed into locations they typically aren't, possibly getting into trouble with landowners and livestock operations and then having to be removed by wildlife services. I do know that it is going to disrupt all our wildlife, though.
Absolutely. We have now Michael Rogers Weather with an update real quick. Here's Michael.
Hi, everybody. Michael Rogers from MichaelRogersWeather.com. It's going to get hot, folks, and it's going to carry right into the weekend. We start out with it for today, 97 for the high. Tomorrow, the high will be 100. The day after tomorrow, you're still going to be hot, 98 for the high. What does that mean? A lot of sun, very little clouds. Enjoy the weather. It's the only weather you got.
Thank you, MichaelRogersWeather.com. Now, quickly, we've only got about 9 minutes left. I want to have you tell us about the record tiger muskie that was caught here in the state of Idaho. This was a big dude.
It was 44.26 pounds, caught on a neon magic lure on the in New Meadows on Little Payette Lake. It beat the old record of 38 pounds 7 ounces that was set in 01 on Hauser Lake up north, and that was caught on a Mepps bucktail yellow lure.
How long was that fish?
The one that we just caught was 50.5 inches.
50.5 inches. Now, what was the reason for introducing muskies here in the state of Idaho?
You've got me. That happened long before I started here. I don't know. I'm a real native type guy. I like native critters, and I guess it would the primary reason
they don't like trout.
Yeah, well, they do. They really like them.
That's what I mean.
They really like them. But typically, it's just to offer more a diverse angler experience.
You know, Kelton and I were talking off the air during the break at the bottom of the hour, and we were talking about my going fishing in the Great Lakes back in high school days up by Escanaba, Michigan. And boy, some of those muskies in there, they get as big, like 6 feet long, 200 pounds, and they're literally a freshwater shark.
Yeah.
They're dangerous.
I think a 50-incher would make me nervous.
I would have liked to have been there with a video camera when that guy tried to land that thing in the boat. And that's when they're the most dangerous, by the way.
Yeah, their teeth are out of the water.
Yeah.
Close to you. And they've got big old sharp ones. And so, no, it's pretty cool. I mean, to have a fish that size taken. And so.
Really? Here in Idaho. That's pretty good. Hey, Sportsman's Breakfast, what's going on?
Come on over. We'll cook you pancakes, eggs, and sausage.
Are you kidding me?
I know.
When?
Never made it. August 23rd.
Okay, I'm gone.
Oh, you gone to bed?
No. I get up a lot earlier than you do, Mr. Buckwheat.
Well, yeah, I know. Sometimes that restroom.
No. I'll be gone this year, but I really would like to go to that breakfast. I heard it's a real good deal.
It's a lot of fun. We're going to be talking about drawing odds. Regan Berkeley are one of our population biologists.
Population biologist. Say it again, class. We're going to spell it twice tomorrow morning.
She put together a huge presentation for the commission on drawing odds. She's going to talk about that. We're going to have hunting and fishing updates by Doug McGargle and Randy Smith.
Doug McGargle. I remember him. The man that invited me fishing 27 years ago.
He took you with electric probes.
That wasn't fun.
Wolf population statuses, pelican briefs. You know, talking about the pelicans.
Is that a new kind of undershort?
It is. I'm not even touching that one. But it starts at 6:30 a.m. August 23rd at the Magic Valley Regional Office.
I want to see your face when you get there at 6:30 in the morning.
Oh, I'll be there at 5.
You're going to be cooking?
You bet. Got special pancakes for you, Zeb.
I bet you do.
But no, come on over. It'll be great. And then, hey, guys, stop by your booth. We've got a little thing. It's called play fishing game trivia for the kids, and we've got a bunch of questions.
Go ahead and ask me one. I'll play like I'm a little 12-year-old right now.
Okay.
Go ahead, Kelvin.
Do fish have ears?
No, they don't have ears.
How do they hear?
I didn't know they could.
No, fish do have ears, but they're on the inside.
Oh, kind of like yours.
Yeah, there you go. Can fish smell underwater?
Yes.
Okay, that's good.
Yes.
What's a baby deer called?
A fawn.
A fawn.
Okay.
Okay. What type of poisonous snake is in Idaho?
Diamondback rattlers.
Wrong. Close. Western rattlesnake.
That was my next choice.
Okay. What's an omnivore?
It's an omelet that's made with only 4 eggs.
There you go. But those are some of the questions we got. We give the kids a little tattoo, fish and game logo if they can answer the question. So stop by, say hi.
Okay. Hey, listen, I got to sell some tires right now. And actually, I'm going to sell service here because they are the best. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers with the best in tires, all the different tread designs for all your different driving needs, all your different vehicles. They've got the best in tires with the free peace of mind tire protection and free lifetime tire and mileage care. Absolutely the best. Stop in and see any one of the 7 locations for your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers today. Check out the brake service, check out the shocks and struts, the front end alignments, the batteries. But the service, they always are there to take care of you. Bang, just like that. Get you back out on the road. You stop in and see Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike in Buell, Mike in Jerome, the Twist family in Paul, Lane and Rupert, John on Poline, and Randy, the old Seahawk fan, right there on Overland and Burley. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Let's see, what else have we got? Stop by the fair and see Kelton. He's going to be in a booth. It's a dunking booth, $3 for $5 balls. You can throw at the little target and see if you can dunk him in the water, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I want to do that.
As warm as it was. Well,
I'd come down and spend $50.
I know. You'd probably throw at the screen, though.
I thought about it.
So, but no, you know, hunting season's right now.
Yeah.
We've got deer hunting starting down in 55. We've got elk hunts going down here in 54. Elk hunts out on the desert. just be out there, be cautious. If you haven't got your spots lined up, go start talking to landowners.
Really?
It's a good time of year to go out there and visit them before everybody else in town shows up to talk to them.
Well, the main thing is, and I want to end where we started, be careful out there. The fires are horrendous, and quite frankly, I hate to say this because you don't want to wish anything more, but the opportunity for more fires is just right there right now.
Well, your weather forecast made me sad.
Yeah.
Hot and dry. Hot. If we need any more heat, and so and typically with those big fronts like that, when it's that high of pressure, you get winds and thunder storms, and I think it could be a lot worse before it gets better.
Okay, well, next month you'll be back here again, I'm sure. Next month is already going to be September. Do you know that?
I know. I'll be bow hunting.
Your kids are in school?
Hallelujah.
sounds like the Kelton Hatch Choir here.
No, it's good to get, the way I can have fun. Okay. I enjoy my kids. We've had a good summer.
Tomorrow on the program, we've got a whole bunch of things to talk about. We got the Chamber of Commerce report. We've got all kinds of things, including making sense with your money. We've got the Rita Ramsey's going to be on talking about the great big Idaho Liberty Summit, and that's going to be at the Best Western Inn and Convention Center this weekend on Friday and Saturday. Take pride in what America was and can be again. Everybody get registered for that big summit this weekend, thanks to the Idaho Tea Party. Going to be outstanding. And so until tomorrow at 8:06, Zeb Bell wishing you a very good day. Enjoy the Cassia County Fair and Pro Rodeo. And Kelton Hatch is going to be over there walking around by the booth and giving you all the information about wildlife and fishing. And we'll be back at 8:06 tomorrow morning. The way things were are the way things ought to be. God bless you and your family. We'll see you tomorrow morning.